All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. You can always be a part of the show. Specs Text Line's the best way to do it. 512-337-3776. It is a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick playing jams that are intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans who may have had a difficult weekend. And honestly, this weekend,
yeah, it's just happier soul music now.
I was going to say, yeah, I think we're all good here actually this weekend. Well, I guess Texas women's basketball had the loss to
they made it to a championship game?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
4 seed in the tournament.
And I'm trying to think of teams that took a loss over the weekend because Austin FC won. Good for them.
Yeah, Spurs lost, but they were supposed to.
They
beat the Nuggets, too, on Friday.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
They beat the number one team in the West on Friday. And then turned around and lost to the Thunder on Sunday. You know what? Just killing it, Spurs.
Don't pull the Texans, okay? Complete the tank.
Complete the tank.
If you're going to be in a tankathon, don't at the finish line of the tankathon decide, you know what? I don't want to win the tankathon. I'm going to let somebody else win. You're leading the tankathon. You were there.
Don't let Michael Jordan win the tankathon by accident.
That's what the Texans basically did. They allowed another team to win the tankathon, and they were right there. They've been tanking for 2 years. They were right there.
And now Carolina, who has no plan of what to do, just wanted to do something.
Now, how about this? This is true. Now, Patrick just referenced it, and I couldn't believe. I said, because Mel Kiper said this too. I heard him say it too. He said there have been multiple instances that he can remember where a team trades up and they're not sure who the pick is. So he said this is not something that is totally out of the norm, that it has happened before. I heard him talking about it this weekend. I still think if I'm going to trade for a pick, I would know who I want to get picked, but not the case. Apparently, and this comes from Adam Schefter, among multiple sources. He says, just hung up the phone with someone in the organization, and I said there's a belief that David Tepper, owner of the Panthers, loves Bryce Young. Frank Reich likes C.J. Stroud. Whoa. Love and like, very different. We all been in relationships. We know this. All right? So if the owner loves Bryce Young, but the head coach likes C.J. Stroud, well, we all know love trumps like. And especially if you're the owner paying the bills. So I don't know what that means. He said, let me finish reading the quote. He said, there's a belief that David Tepper loves Bryce Young, Frank Reich likes C.J. Stroud, and they said, we love all these quarterbacks, and we've got 48 days to make a decision on which one we will be taking. But clearly they feel comfortable in giving up the compensation that they did to move up 8 slots to procure the number 1 overall draft pick ahead of other teams that were interested in getting that particular pick. So Adam Schefter is hinting, Patrick, they don't necessarily know.
Now, I can understand why when the Bears go, this is up for, we're trading the number 1, and the Texans don't want to trade number 2. You don't think Arizona wants to trade number 3. The Colts want to move up, if not down, at 4. So you're like, if we want a quarterback, we're going to need to get in that top 5, and if no one else in the top 5 wants to move about 1, I guess we should go for 1. Because they may have said, cool, we'd be cool with 2 or 3 too, because we'd be fine getting the whichever one, but we got to go for 1 because that's what's open. That's what's available. So it can make sense in that. I will go, Frank Reich really needs to learn how to put his foot down with owners.
Oh, man.
Because he seems like he is accommodating once again. All right, you want to start Sam Ehlinger instead of Nick Foles? All right, we'll start him. And
what do you say when your boss tells you the one who's going
to fire you in 2 weeks? I tell him no. I want to win games.
It's hard to do that.
I get it, but
it's hard. It's hard to do the guy that's signing the checks and tell him.
But if you don't,
you're a billionaire and your idea is stupid.
No. That's why you say that's great. But what if?
No. This is a skill too, to be able to convince a billionaire. All right. That your idea is their idea. That takes a lot of savvy. That takes a mastery of communication to convince because billionaires are, by nature, they're narcissists.
Yeah.
Well, you would be too. If all your ideas let you become
a billionaire and I'm a narcissist. Come on, man.
Exactly. So you got to convince that narcissist out there, that egomaniac, that your idea is their idea, because that's the only way you're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
They ain't going to let you tell them what to do with their money and their team. We know this. Jerry Jones. Well,
Can't-
actually, Jerry Jones lets his son do it a little bit. I mean,
he's getting better. He's getting better when he's getting older.
His son was the one to kind of be the Jerry Jones whisperer and keep him from doing some of those crazy things.
Yes.
Yeah. But I don't know who's that for David Tepper.
No, I don't know. But yeah, Frank Reich, if you really think CJ Stroud's your guy and it's not Bryce Young and you let the owner draft the wrong guy again and you get fired in a couple years, no more sympathy for you.
Yeah. But do you get it? That's a good. You know what? At this point, I'm with you because you've already been fired from one gig, but you were fired because you wouldn't make your mind up about quarterback. 2018, the Andrew Luck thing was not Frank Reich's fault.
No.
He decided to retire, and I think honestly, that is Frank Reich's fault for not having a plan B or contingency plan behind Andrew Luck. Because once Andrew Luck retired, you can tell he was SOL. He let Hoyer and Jacoby Brissett be his stars quarterbacks. Then he went and got Phillip Rivers. Then he went and got Carson Wentz. And then it was Matt Ryan and Sam Ellinger.
And then the owner said, we're trading Carson Wentz, even though I think Frank Reich still wanted to keep Carson Wentz. The owner was like, no, he just lost us this playoff game. He's out of here.
Yeah, my man CV brings up a good point, too. Remember the Titans in 2006? Bud Adams wanted Vince Young, Jeff Fisher, and Norm Chow wanted Matt Leinart. Turns out Vince Young would have been a better idea.
Yeah. And they got him.
And Matt Leinart, I would take that all day, every day, because Matt Leinart didn't really work out in the NFL either.
And if you would have fired your coach then, you could have had Vince Young do well as well.
Oh, Jeff Fisher was such a quarterback killer.
I want Jeff George.
Nick Foles. Nick Foles was going to join the church. He was actually going to become a man of the cloth. Because of Jeff Fisher, and then Jeff Fisher left.
Kept showing him Jeff George clips. Come on, guys. Yeah, nobody knows who this is, man. Stop putting him in front of stars.
Think about the quarterbacks that met their demise because of Jeff Fisher. Jared Goff, almost, and then Jared Goff was resuscitated by Sean McVay, and now he's doing great. Nick Foles, but then he was resuscitated by Frank Reich and then Doug Peterson and won Super Bowl MVP. Case Keenum was there for a while. His career almost
newly
ended
signed
there.
Texan Case Keenum.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, signed with the Texans today.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, Case Keenum's back
Thank
with the
you for
Texans.
that update. But then he ends up going somewhere else.
Agreed to terms. Sorry.
There you go. Yeah, legal tampering.
Legal tampering.
Don't about that. Going somewhere else, and then his career flourishes when he gets away from Jeff Fisher. And I don't know. I think Jeff Fisher's a big part of those disappointments. And then Vince Young, I think Vince Young would have been better. My point is, if he was away from Jeff Fisher. But anyway, there you go. So we don't know who the Carolina Panthers are going to pick at number 1. They may not know either. Adam Schefter also, sorry, not Adam Schefter. He was the initial report. This is Todd McShay. In his latest mock draft, Todd McShay had the Colts going with Anthony Richardson. He said, we still don't know what signal caller Carolina will target, and it could truthfully be any of the top 4 names. I've heard a little buzz about Carolina being interested in Florida's Anthony Richardson, who's a raw prospect, but is coming off a huge combine performance. How about that? Crazy. So basically the Anthony Richardson thing is because of Josh Allen. Josh Allen is an outlier in quarterback development history because he had terrible accuracy coming out of college. There had never been a quarterback picked as high in the NFL draft who had performed so poorly at such a low level of football as Josh Allen. And they were able to take all those raw materials and turn them into an elite NFL quarterback. Now, how much of that was Brian Daboll? You got to have a quarterback guru to do that too. Sean McVay did it with Jared Goff. Brian Daboll did it with Daniel Jones, and also did it with Josh Allen to a certain extent. There are these stories. It's Geno Smith. I got to go look at who the quarterback coach is and who the offensive coordinator is for the Seahawks.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Pete Carroll gets some of that love too because Russell Wilson was that guy.
You're right.
As well, that he has made both of them really good.
Yeah. All right. That's enough of that. We'll get back to some of the other quarterback news, notes, and nuggets, and also who the Cowboys like. Turns out the Cowboys are big Rojo fans. And I think it's because of value. I like that. If they're looking at Rojo, there's a Cowboys insider says the Cowboys are looking very hard at Rojo, Rashawn Johnson, not necessarily at Bijan Robinson, because Bijan, hey man, he's going to be drafted in the top 15, 20 picks. But Rojo will definitely be there for the Cowboys at one point. All right, we come back. We got the flex on the other side right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday right here on Ball Don't Lie, right here on 104.9 The Horn. The legal tampering period for the NFL has begun, so there's a lot of reports out there. Nothing can be finalized yet, and nothing at this point until the official new year begins, which I think is March 15th, the official new year
Wednesday.
begins. Yeah, so Wednesday, nothing can be signed. Everything can be agreed upon. And I believe you can agree on terms, whatever that means.
Yeah, basically everything can be done
nothing's official,
except for you can have the
official.
plane trip. You can be in the town, and then Wednesday at noon or whenever it is, you can sign on the dotted line, but you can't sign the dotted line until Wednesday.
Ain't nothing official.
Yes.
So you can still, pull a Carlos Correa.
Or what's that? Markieff Morris or Marcus? I think it was Marcus Morris
Did he do that too?
to the Spurs. Yeah.
He pulled one of those.
Yeah, the Spurs.
The NBA that happened. That's
Well-
why the NFL, when the NBAification of the NFL is like once it is solidified and cemented, you'll see guys just backing out of deals. Like, no, I'm good.
The reason the Spurs were mad is they traded a player to make cap room to sign him, and then he backed out.
Ooh, yeah,
So they were not thrilled.
yeah. I mean, nobody likes a renegger.
No,
And don't be saying renegger. Trust me,
I wasn't going to.
because that's someone who reneges.
And
on
I'm the
you.
one with the dump button, and I still am not going to say it.
Don't say renegger with the hard ER. That's going to get you in trouble. All right, let's get to FLXATX.com, FLXATX, and all your social media platforms. Go check out the website for yourself because a lot of great content up there for you. They got high school basketball playoff superlatives for some of the best players in the best districts here in Central Texas. Also, there's still some of the local flex shows we have for you. Remember, Wednesday night are your flex shows, and you can go catch those also for you up at FLXATX.com. That is posted as well. So go FLXATX.com on the website, but also FLXATX on all of your social media platforms. No, Nate, to your question on the Specs text line, which, no, do not use that term in traffic. Do not. Somebody who tries to cut you off, don't do that.
If you got to ask, no.
Don't.
That is a rule for most things.
I'm telling you, don't use the word at all.
Yeah. No, no. I'm saying for most words, if you have to ask, just don't.
Oh, that's a good.
It's
I
a
like
normal rule.
That's a kind of a good starting point. If you got to ask, probably don't use it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use
That's kind of in radio.
There you
I've
go.
always if you have to ask, probably just safer to walk away.
But if you ask it live on air, then it kind of defeats the purpose, which
Yeah,
I think I've also
it does.
done before. Like, can I use that word? It's like, well, you already used it, so you're getting fired regardless. You might as well just go full on Howard Stern at that point. All right, we're never going full on Howard Stern because we like our jobs. So come back. We'll get into the NFL legal tampering period. I love the term. I'll also compare legal tampering to one of for something that everybody's done, something you've done today. Something you've done today. I guarantee you've done it today, or you've done it within the last 24 to 48 hours. We'll do that. Also, the Cowboys. We'll talk about who the Cowboys should be making offers to. Are they ready to make a deal in NFL free agency? Jimmy G to the Raiders. Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. Jets, Jets. And also Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins. That one actually is done. The rest of those are just speculative. We'll get into all that and more, all the speculation and all of the conjecture and rumor of NFL free agency. Legal tampering. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. Jams meant to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans, but I got a feeling sports fans are in a pretty good mood today because a lot of you sports fans that listen to us anyway are hopeful about the future. That's what the offseason is all about for the NFL. We'll get to that because the NFL legal tampering period started today, and it's weird that they call it the legal tampering period. I really don't have any like nuggets or any inside information or any research on why they started to call it the legal tampering period. Here's my belief on why they decided to just throw it in your face, call it legal tampering, is because tampering is like speeding. It is the most violated law, violated rule, broken rule in all of sports, every sport. Now with the transfer portal, at the college level, it's every sport. Tampering is easily the most violated NCAA rule. It's not even close. How do you think all these guys, gals, by the way, are getting in the transfer portal and know where they're going? They know. Because they got, through degrees of separation, communication with different coaches who are saying, hey, get in the transfer portal, we'll give you a scholarship here, which is also against the rules of the NCAA. So it's violated there. The NFL, by the way, the NBA, come on. They can't even define it really in the NBA. They don't even try to enforce it because they can't define it because the players are brokering the deals. If the players are brokering the deals from pre-existing relationships that are actually cultivated away from basketball, what are you going to do? They hang out and go on vacation together. They went to Mexico together, hanging out, and their family thing like that. They decided, you know what, we're going to play together too. That tampering? I don't know. Maybe. Prove it. Can't prove it. The NFL the same way. Hell, Sean McVay decided visiting Mexico with Matt Stafford. They vacationed the same place together, saw each other at the resort. Yeah, that's not tampering. They were just on vacation together, the same resort. At that resort, they decided, you know what, we should play together. You're damn right we should. You're damn right we should. They can't prove tampering in any league at any level. It's really tough. The Dolphins are the dumbest criminals out there. The Dolphins are just stupid. Because it really is, tampering happens in every league, almost at every level. Hell, it's happening in high school too, probably.
Yeah, I mean, we
know in the high school level it's tampering too. Some of y'all local teams, y'all know who y'all are. I ain't gonna call nobody out, but there's tampering happening there too.
No, we saw when the legal tampering period started, there was roughly 45 minutes. And you remember in class when you would finish a test and then you look around, you're like, I don't want to be the first one to turn it in. Like, did I miss something on my test? And then, like, someone turns it in, like 3 more people turn it in. There was like 4 or 5 deals that came through right at the same time.
Yeah.
So everyone was just like, look at the clock. Like, when can we pretend that we didn't call this guy 2 weeks ago and already had agreed on deals?
Hey, Shifty, hold up that tweet real quick, man. Ain't nobody else. We don't want to be the first.
We don't want to be the first deal. Then that first one is a barrage of them come behind.
Yeah, exactly. Like, the tampering's happening everywhere. I don't think any league is guilty or any team is necessarily like guilty or anything, but I think everybody, it's like speeding. You sped today. You broke the law today. You did. You know you did. There's nobody listening to this show right now who drove within the speed limit the whole day. You can't. It's impossible. It's damn near impossible to drive the speed limit the whole time. You know you tell your kids they should do it. You can't do it. Your kids watch you speed in the car. They're like, Mom, the speed limit's 60. You're doing 73. Hey, kid, I got somewhere to be. Everybody speeds. Everybody tampers. Your favorite coach is guilty of tampering. Steve Sarkisian is an awesome coach. It's a good chance he's tampering. Because everybody's doing it. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, everybody's tampering. It's you can't help it. It's just the nature of the beast. That's why the Dolphins, they got caught tampering because of the Tom Brady reports that came out. Dolphins are just stupid.
Yeah, I bet Bill Belichick had something to do with that too. I've been blaming everything of this now is just Bill Belichick just ratting people out.
Oh yeah, remember his mistaken text on purpose?
Yeah.
I had the wrong Brian.
Which I mean,
Brian Daboll. That is Brian Flores.
Because that was Miami.
Okay.
And then Brian Flores came out and was like, they were meeting with quarterbacks on yachts, and they were telling me to get on the yacht, and I said no.
So his mistaken text also blew up the potential Tom Brady, Jackie Moon situation with the Dolphins that would have obviously embarrassed him within the same division also.
Somehow. I don't know. It seems crazy, right?
You know what? Coincidence, serendipity.
Legal tampering.
Legal, exactly. That's why the NFL was like, you know what? Legal tampering. All right? If you ain't tampering, you ain't trying. Thank you, Texter. That's exactly right. I mean, it really is. Tampering is like speeding, guys. It's happening all over the damn place. Everybody speeds, so you're technically breaking the law. And everybody who's listening to this show right now has broken the law.
There's some people that are illegally tampering while listening to the show right now. Currently doing it.
Exactly. Like, yo, seriously. I mean, how do you think this Texas basketball team was built? What do you think?
I mean, we got a road outside the window. I can see it.
Exactly.
Some of y'all speeding right now.
We got those transfers on Texas basketball team. You think they all got here because they all just went through the process of the road? No. Somebody tampered with them.
No, Texas did it right. Texas perfectly clean. All them other programs.
Exactly, all the other programs. You're right. So that's why that's why I'm glad the NFL decided, you know what? Screw it. Everybody knows we're doing it. Let's just throw it out there. Let's call it what it is. It's legal tampering because we don't care. It's legal when the authorities who's supposed to enforce that law don't give a damn about it. Yeah. In Texas now we're doing that with marijuana, right? They call it when they basically decriminalize something. That's basically the NFL's done with tampering. They decriminalize tampering. Only ones that get caught were the Dolphins because, like I said, they're stupid.
Yeah, I think the NFL also realized they're like, man, people are talking about their brackets too much right now. Give them a couple extra days talking NFL.
Talking some exactly.
Hey, we're losing a market share. Get over there. Talk NFL all day.
You ain't lying about that.
We can't wait till Wednesday.
Man, they said there's plenty of room for That's pretty good. Go back to my renege joke. Renegotiation during legal tampering. Yes, thank you very much for that. Chan says, I do, gentlemen. Yeah, I know you speed. Y'all all out there speeding right now. All right, I know. And that's everybody's out there tampering right now. There you go. Someone says, somehow Worthy decided to come here after signing with Michigan. Hey! It's all good. Because he really loves Texas. I'm sure he does. Of course, we all do. But just tampering's happening everywhere. So that's why I don't judge the NFL. I don't judge anybody for tampering. It's legal tampering now. I like that. Okay. Let's talk about some of the reports out there, and then we'll get to, you know what? Let's start with the Jalen Ramsey. Let's start with what's happened. Let's start with what's documented before we get into the rumor and conjecture. That will be easier to get to. Let's start with what is documented already and some of the more substantive reports. So what is documented is that Jalen Ramsey has been traded to the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins traded for Jalen Ramsey. They traded a third-round pick and a tight end, Hunter Long, to the Rams for Jalen Ramsey. And they are taking advantage of what is essentially the biggest advantage in major American team sports. They have a quarterback on a rookie contract, and they have a ton of money to spend because of that, because they're only spending a very small minuscule amount of their salary cap on their starting quarterback. Now, you need to make sure you got a viable backup behind, Tua Tagovailoa, because he has dealt with some injuries. He's been fragile, but he was great last year in Mike McDaniel's system. Number 1 in yards per attempt, number 2 in passer rating when he was healthy. He was fantastic, but they ended up, working with a Skylar Thompson, third-string quarterback by the end of the season in the playoffs because he was a little too fragile. Here's the question, though, for Cowboys fans out there, because Cowboys do need a corner opposite Trayvon Diggs. So there was some talk, and there's always talk, right, that the Cowboys are in discussions for this player. And this is how I know Cowboys fans. I can say you are being gaslit. I told you guys this a long time ago. They're gaslighting you, Cowboys fans. This is another piece of evidence that you're being gaslit. The offseason lately, doesn't it go the same way? Think about it. Same offseason. Jerry stirs the pot a little bit. There's some interest. Oh, interested in this player. Talking to Wagner. Talking to Odell. Talking to these guys. Oh, Cowboys are interested. Salary cap space is cleared. Oh, salary cap space. They got time to do. That means they got some room to work. That means they got some resources. Fans get excited. We all get titillated. We start talking about it. Oh, what could the Cowboys do with this? What would the scheme mean with this guy? Adding this piece, adding that piece. All right. Then they link the big player to the Cowboys. The social media somehow, some report, that player actually would love to be a Cowboy. Remember the Von Miller story? Oh, he'd love to be a Cowboy. By the way, he'd love to be a Cowboy. Who wouldn't love to be a Cowboy? As long as the price is right. Ultimately, Cowboys are interested. Yes, there's mutual interest. Mutual interest now. Oh, yes, we're getting close. And then ultimately, it didn't happen. Cowboys end up saying, what? Those 4 words. We like our guys. Done. I got a feeling.
I like
this
when you said
offseason-
that, you sounded like Bill Clinton.
Yeah, no, that's what, right? We like our guys. We like our guys. I got a feeling this offseason is going to work the same way. The other rumor, DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, DeAndre Hopkins. Oh,
We like our guys.
He's there. Oh, we like our guys. I'm telling you, I feel like this is a groundhog gaslighting situation. It's like a Groundhog Day of gaslighting for Cowboys fans. Happens every offseason. Oh, mutual interest. Oh, it's going to happen. They cleared cap space. Okay.
No.
Nothing. Oh, we like our guys.
Nope.
Our guys can get it done.
Hey, by the way, the only news you've heard so far is people leaving the Cowboys. No one going there.
Yeah, there's even a report, and I hope this report is not true. I hope this is like something they made up. But there is a report that the Cowboys have not made offers yet. I got this from Mike Fisher, actually.
Well, and I can tell you, Connor McGovern has already agreed to terms with the Buffalo Bills, so you're going to have to fill that position now.
Okay.
So Connor McGovern signs a 3-year, $23 million contract, or agrees to a 3-year, $23 million contract with the Bills. So that is somebody else that played a lot of snaps for you last season that you were going to have to replace.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? That's not the last time it's gonna happen. You're gonna end up losing Dalton Schultz. We know is gone.
We know is gone.
There's no way you're gonna end up keeping Dalton Schultz because you franchise tagged him once. And there's a report from Albert Breer. Remember we talked about this last week. The report from Albert Breer was that there was a solid offer made, and that he rejected the solid offer, whatever that is. Now this current report from Sports Illustrated and from. Sorry, it's Adam Schultz. I thought it was Mike Fisher's Adam Schultz from Sports Illustrated. Here's reporting. Like I said, these are just reports. I'm giving them to you. Make with them what you will. That the Cowboys, and this is at the start of the day, so not at the start of legal tampering period, but that they had not made any offers to any of its in-house free agents. 0. Now, like I said, there was one report that Dalton Schultz got a solid offer from Albert Breer had that report. Cowboys SI is reporting Cowboys have made 0 offers to their in-house free agents. Now, here's why I think that report could hold some water. Cowboys did this with J-Run Curse. Remember, your boy was a big J-Run Curse fan when they first brought him in. Loved me some J-Run Curse. And they let J-Run Curse explore free agency. They didn't offer him a deal early on in free agency. They wanted him to go see what the market would bear, what he's worth on the market. Because they believe, because, listen, we're on open market. Other teams are doing their due diligence, and they're looking for reasons to drive the value down. They don't want to pay top dollar either. So if you're looking at guys like, say you're looking at LVE, Leighton Vander Esch, injury history, inconsistent trajectory, right? Hasn't been a linear trajectory as a player. Had a great rookie season early on, then had some down years and had his second best season of his career just last season, and still didn't stay healthy the entire year. Teams are gonna try to lowball him a little bit. Your injuries. Oh man, you're inconsistent. Lowball. Donovan Wilson also will get lowballed on the open market. It's only lowballed because there's a deep linebacker group this year. Have you seen the group of free agent linebackers?
Yeah, there's a number out there, and a few have already been signed. But yeah, there's still plenty out there.
Have there been some already signed?
There's been a few that have already been signed.
Okay, but it's a deep linebacker group in free agency, and I think safety actually this year is pretty deep too. Safety is one of the deeper. You got guys like Poyer that's out there. You got some really good safeties that are out there too. I don't know if they've been signed, but C.J. Gardner, Johnson, Poyer, Jesse Bates. I think he's rumored to go to Atlanta. Yes. Right now, but Von Bell, Jimmy Ward, really good safeties. They're gonna lowball Donovan Wilson. Cowboys know this. Cowboys are banking on the lowball offer for both of those guys, and when they get lowballed, they're gonna come back feelings hurt, butt hurt, to the Cowboys and go, man, they lowballing me out there. Cowboys go, what they offer you? Well, they offer me this. Man, we'll give you more than that. You know what? I'm signing with y'all. Y'all show me some love.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's going to work. The Cowboys are banking on that, though, with those types of guys. They know they're going to lose Dalton Schultz. They know some guys, they just know where they're going to keep them.
Yeah.
They may be able to keep a LVE and they may be able to get a Donovan Wilson, but they're going to try to get him on the cheap because cat boy, it's always trying to get it on the cheap.
And I mean, you need to think of they have to have this relationship where if they don't make offers, agents are going to tell their clients, yeah, we don't want to deal with them. Hey, man, we're not even, why are we even giving them a chance to match? Like, so Jerry Jones has to go try and talk to a player to get him to agree to tell their manager to not do anything and not, make sure they get all the offers, because agents are not big fans of trying to be lowballed constantly because they know the game as well. So it's not a great way to do business when you're basically trying to piss off every agent because you go, well, I have a good relationship with the clients. Like, my client pays me to get them money. That is what I get paid to do, is make them more money. And you want to pay them less money to make you more money.
Yep.
That's the problem.
That's a great point. And the Cowboys know also, much like, kind of property works, that the values of a free agent on the market, they will drop the longer the property is available. Like, and not for all properties, for most of the free agent stuff, if you're on the market a longer time, then your number's going to drop. It's just the reality of it.
Yeah.
All the pricier free agents, they're not in the market very long. And the ones you're on the market longer, their value drops. Cowboys. Notice why the Cowboys only work, late in the free agency. Because they want the deals. I'll give you this is a Stephen Jones quote. It ain't going to make you feel good, but it's how they view the free agency world. Quote, you're going to pay good players like they're great players, average players like they're good, below average players like they're average. It's just not a great way to build a football team. That's how they view free agency. Actually, I agree with that. It's not a great way to build a football team. It is a great way to supplement and complement a football team.
Yeah, to
construction.
Because right now, Jerry, you're telling everybody you have a good football team and you have an all right football team.
Yeah, exactly.
You need to have a great football team, and that's where you need to add some pieces in free agency. And when you go, hey man, we get that you need a cornerback because man, that was a big problem for you. You need to help that depth. They go, no. We're not even gonna go out and try and get a splash guy at defensive back. We know you're losing a tight end. You need one. We'll wait on that and hope that there's still one out there. We get one in the draft. Hey, well, we know your guard is going to be taken off. All right, we'll get another guard. You can't get all of these in the draft.
You can't get. You got to find out what you can get in the draft and what you can get in free agency to push you over the top. The Cowboys' big issue is they don't use every possible means of talent acquisition to build their football team. They only use the draft and undrafted free agency pretty much. And the rest, free agency and trades, they don't maximize those avenues. And I wish they would. I think they'd be a better organization if they used every possible means necessary that's available, I should say, to build their team and construct their roster, but they don't. They pretty much ignore free agency until they have to get into it. I'd also throw this out there, too, because we'll get into I want to play some sound from Mark Murphy, who is the president of the Packers, pointing to this Packers trading Aaron Rodgers to the Jets. I mean, it seems like it's going to happen. We're just kind of rating on Aaron Rodgers, waiting for Godot, if you will, to figure out what he's going to do. So we'll get into that, too. But Ramsey traded to the Dolphins. Jalen Ramsey, I think it's how it started because we were talking about Jalen Ramsey trades to the Dolphins for a third-round pick and a tight end, Hunter Long, for Jalen Ramsey to the Dolphins. They can afford to do this because they have Tua on that rookie contract. Their defense is going to be stacked now. Remember, they hired Vic Fangio. Now they got Tyreek Hill with, talking about, Armstead. They got Bradley Chubb they brought in. They traded for him, too. Now you got Ramsey, you traded for him. Still got Xavier Howard there as another corner. So they got two pretty much locked down corners. They got that young edge rusher, Jalen Phillips, really good player too. So that defense now is going to be just as stacked as the offense is. And they got about 2 or 3 years with Tua still on his rookie contract to go all in. And they have adopted the Rams' philosophy of F them picks. They got 4 picks in 2023. That's it in the draft. That's it. They gave them all up. They got number 51, number 84, 178, and 240. That's it. They decided, you know what? F them picks, man. We want proven commodities, MDFication of the NFL. This is our window. We're going all in. And Tua's going to be the guy. They better make sure they got a viable backup. Didn't they just sign a backup behind him? They need to make sure they got a viable backup behind him.
They might have.
Miami needs to get a backup behind him. That right away. Because right now, they look like they're ready to make a run.
I mean, they still have Skyler, right?
They do have Skylar Thompson start the playoff game.
He started the playoff game.
Yeah, I think they might need somebody that can guarantee. They got Teddy Bridgewater. I don't know if he's still with them or not.
I believe he's a free agent, so he might be.
So that's what they need to figure that out because he's going. I hate to see it. Knocking on wood. Tua may end up missing a game or two. Oh, man, the 49ers just reached an agreement with Sam Darnold.
Yeah, I was waiting to give you that one.
Whoa.
You know Shanahan. You know what type of quarterbacks he likes.
He loves a bad quarterback. I swear. I don't even know how. He's like that woman, and you're like, well, men like this too. But I know some women who they got a bad picker. They just pick just really D-bag a-hole guys, and they're nice. They're really nice. They're great, but they just have and maybe it's because they want a project. Maybe it's because they're looking to. I don't know. They want some type of different a man that they believe can be a good man down the line. They just need some TLC. I have no idea what it is. All right. Yeah. Bad pickers. Thanks. Shano is that woman. He has a bad picker. He picks bad quarterbacks, and he's been doing it forever.
And, man, Sam Darnold seems to fall. He's seeing
right
ghosts. Seeing ghosts out there. The Miami Dolphins signed Mike White. Is who they signed.
That's who it is. I thought I heard that somewhere they signed
agreed to terms.
Agreed to terms. Thank you.
Legal tampering.
Agreed to terms with a backup. Mike White's the real deal. Cowboys drafted Mike White. Don't forget that.
He's staying in the league.
Cowboys should draft more quarterbacks because when they do draft them, they're actually pretty damn good, the ones they do draft. But anyway, I digress. Getting back to the Miami Dolphins, should the Cowboys have made this move? That's the question. They definitely could have, draft capital-wise. Obviously not a huge haul. The question is, money-wise, would you want to devote that much money to the cornerback position? The Cowboys are, I think, right now about 14, 15 million over the salary cap. Under the salary cap. After creating 30 million in salary cap space. And Ramsey, I believe, is a $25 million cap hit.
So
with $14.5 million in base salary. And you can pull it off. You obviously can, restructure things, move things around, but that's a lot. And I believe his salary is guaranteed in 2023 and 2024.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
No, and I think you can attack that in the draft, but the more of not picking up any free agents means you have to attack so many things in the draft that now you're relying on a 4th round pick to play minutes for you, because there just isn't a guy like. When you let go an offensive lineman, and then you let go a tight end, and then you let go a cornerback, and you're like, all right, these are 3 positions, and you preferably like to fill them all with first-rounders or second-rounders, and you need another running back, and you need there keeps being more and more holes, and there just seem to be waiting for the draft, and then they go, oh, we'll get a free agent after. You're like, but all the good ones are going to be gone.
Exactly.
And now there's nothing left for you to go get, and you're then going to sell us, oh, no, we really like this guy. We'll go, we saw him play. We know what you just did, and you just downgrade a position and then tell us that you got better again.
Exactly. That's what the gaslighting. You're like, no, we're better. It's like, no, you're not. You're not better. You let all the good players, leave free agency or get acquired in free agency, and then you went out and scrapped up the leftovers.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the Cowboys have been a good drafting team.
They're a great drafting team.
If you have one bad draft now, though, the Cowboys, how precariously they're leaning on the draft, one bad draft can set you back 2 or 3 years because that's got to fill multiple positions for you. So if you're saying, hey, man, we're getting our new left guard and our new cornerback and our new tight end in the draft, you miss on all 3 of those. Now, next season, when more free agents are gone, now you have to fill 6, 7, 8 holes. Like, one bad draft could cripple this team.
You're right about that.
And so it's such a precarious way to go through trying to base everything on really lottery tickets.
If the Cowboys, and I've said it before, the Cowboys are really great. They're a great team at drafting. They really are. But you should. It's like having I always say diversify your portfolio.
Yeah.
I always say in the financial world, diversify your portfolio because you don't want to be, you don't want to have too much of your portfolio of your assets. All right. Basically in one aspect of the financial in terms of your financial part, you don't want to be overly invested, I should say, in just one thing. They would like you to diversify, and that's what Patrick's saying. Basically, the Cowboys are overly invested in the draft, and which happens to everybody. If they have a bad draft, or by some, I don't know, misfortune, misfortune of somehow they end up with guys getting hurt in that draft or whatever, that's going to set them back. It's going to debilitate their roster construction for the foreseeable future, when if you have a more balanced portfolio, if you will, or if you acquire talent in a more diversified way via the draft, via undrafted free agency, via trades, but also via free agency market as well, I think the Cowboys would be better off. They'd be more stabilized. But right now they are a great drafting team, but I think the holes that they have every year, as Patrick mentioned, too much to address just in the draft. You have to try to address them with all the means at your at your disposal to try to make sure that you acquire the best talent available for every possible position. Cowboys don't do that.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't expect you to go out and sign a guard, a tight end, and a cornerback, and a running back. But I expect you to get one, maybe two. And then you can say, all right, now in the draft, we can really focus on what we need, and then we can get some guys in other positions. But it's just everything's so relied on that draft right now that until they make a couple signings, we don't know who's playing starting tight end. We don't know who's – now, they did have an extra lineman last year because Tyler Smith played so well.
Jason Peters came in. They brought him in.
Well, but because Tyron Smith went out and Tyler Smith was able to go into that position and play it fully – you kind of had a little bit more wiggle room on the line, but you're still going to have to bring in somebody else because there's going to be injuries during the season. That just is how football works. So you need to bring another lineman there. I mean, we don't know who any of these guys are going to be, and that's a problem if we're going to Wednesday, Thursday, when the free agent signing actually starts, and none of these. Because right now, they could be negotiating with guys, and those deals just haven't been leaked out. Now, Jerry likes to leak things out, so it's not as common, but they could be having these negotiations. No one can actually sign until Wednesday. There's a lot of good names still on the board, but it's not their MO to do, and it'd be nice to see them do something.
Yeah, Cowboys like to wait it out, and I understand in terms of value that is the right thing to do, and it's risky when you really need talented depth across the board, and you're waiting for some of those guys to come off the market, or you're waiting for them, the market, to devalue those commodities for you as a Cowboy. All right, we'll get into
Can I give you a quick update on the Houston Texans have brought in 2 former Longhorns already this offseason? Hassan Reddick has apparently agreed to a 1-year deal with the Texans, I believe, and Andrew Beck, the tight end, has agreed to a 2-year deal with the Texans.
The Hassan Ridgeway thing makes sense because DeMeco Ryans, he's with the 49ers, I believe, so that makes sense. The Andrew Beck thing, they want to run the ball. Andrew Beck's an elite blocker.
Yeah,
that's what he did with the Denver Broncos. I believe that's where he was before. I think he was there his entire career. Actually, he's been with the Denver Broncos. He's an elite blocker, and the Texans want to run the rock. Yep. So that makes perfect sense with them making that acquisition. So there you go. Some Longhorns finding their way with the Houston Texans. We'll talk a little bit of Texans a little bit later on in the show. We come back. I want to talk about Aaron Rodgers to the Jets, Jets. It sounds like it's going to happen. We'll hear from Mark Murphy, the president of the Green Bay Packers, talking about that. Jimmy G to the Raiders. That seems to be where all the reports are indicating that Jimmy G is going to end up. Nothing official. We'll get into that because that affects the Houston Texans. All the reports last week were that the Texans were zeroing in on Jimmy G to be part of their quarterback room. So if the Texans are not going to bring in Jimmy G, what are they going to do at quarterback? We'll talk about that as well. Will they trade up in the draft to try to go get their quarterback? All of that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is the NFL's legal tampering period. We're in the midst of it right now. Smooth Soul Monday, also right here on Ball Don't Lie. We'll get to some NFL news notes and nuggets here. I want to talk about the Aaron Rodgers saga. He has not yet decided where he's going to play football or if he's going to play football. But there's a lot of reports indicating that the Jets are the top spot. So we'll talk about the quarterback carousel, which continues to turn here in the offseason. We'll get to Jimmy G, the reports about him to the Las Vegas Raiders, and also even a report about Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield also back up in the news, so he's probably going to have a new landing spot as well. Let's start with Aaron Rodgers, though. Mark Murphy is the president of the Packers, and he was speaking at some engagement. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but everybody wants to pick his brain about what's happening with Aaron Rodgers. And, of course, he was asked about it. And when Mark Murphy was asked about it, the comments that he gave made some people think that maybe Mark Murphy is enthusiastic, potentially, about moving on from Aaron Rodgers. This comes from Adriana Torres at Torres Adriana TV. Here is the CEO and president of the Packers, Mark Murphy.
Yeah, I think, I can't get into all the details, but, it's a situation where I think we wanted to help Aaron achieve what he wanted as well as the Packers and hopefully, create a situation where it's kind of a win for both sides.
At this point, is it entirely up to Aaron Rodgers on what he wants to do? And then what has the communication been like the last few days and the last few weeks?
Yeah, we're still in discussions. I can't really get into a lot of the specifics.
15 years ago, this Packers organization has been through something very similar with Brett Favre, even with the Jets involved in all of that. How strange has that been? And then what has this organization learned from 15 years ago now using in this year?
Yeah, well, obviously we're very fortunate to have back-to-back Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And, yeah, it was very early in my tenure, so I remember it very well with Brett's situation. And, it's kind of the happens in our game. Very few players play for only one team. And obviously Brett had a great career, Aaron had a great career here, and regardless of what happens, Aaron will be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, he'll be in our Hall of Fame, and we'll bring him back, he'll retire his number. And but this is just one of the things that you go through as a team. And, again, we want to try to achieve something that's good for both Aaron and us.
Do you think that all of this will be resolved in the next few days? Of course, that March 15th New Year deadline is what everyone has in their back of their mind.
Yeah, I think ideally for everybody would be to have this resolved before the start of free agency in March 15th.
Does this Packers organization believe that Jordan Love could be the face of the franchise, the future, the starting QB for this team?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him. I think, we drafted him and developed him. A lot of credit goes to our coaches, and to Jordan. But we do think he's ready.
Thank you so much.
All right. He said they're going to try to get it done before March 15th, before the deadline, or at least the start of the brand new league year. Honestly, Patrick, I think it's a done deal. The Jets are optimistic it's going to happen, and it seems like the Packers at this point are done with the drama. We just waiting on Aaron Rodgers, speaking of the drama, to decide where he wants to go. I think it's the Jets. I think it's a done deal.
Yeah, it seems like that. It also seems like Aaron Rodgers is in a text thread with both teams, and he's just got those three little dots at the bottom, and they're just waiting for him to say okay.
That's probably true.
And it just seems like is he still typing? It's been hours.
Well, he's in a dark room.
He's back in the dark room again.
Yeah, dark room still.
No, it's just like I don't know why it has not happened yet. I guess he's trying to make sure 100% that he wants to go there. Maybe he and the Jets are trying to work out that he wants whatever deal that he wants with them. Maybe there's something on that side. It seems as if the Packers and Jets have already worked on compensation.
They cleared some cap space.
So, but for they know what the picks will be and everything else seems to be done. it looks like it's just Aaron Rodgers once again understanding he can control the media day, and he will do it when he wants to do it.
Yeah, he loves the spotlight. He likes to play hard to get, and he loves the drama. He's going to say he doesn't like the drama, but he likes the drama.
Loves it.
He loves it.
So
So
if he didn't, he would have already done it.
Exactly.
He walked away.
Because remember, he could always go into he didn't have to tell anybody about his darkness retreat. He could just go do the darkness retreat, and we'll find out about it later. But no, we can never find out about it. He didn't have to tell anybody about it. I actually love that he's forthcoming. My point is, though, he's forthcoming because he likes the attention and the drama. And I'm all for it, by the way. I'm all for it. I ain't mad at him at all.
because he keeps coming out, too, and he goes, stay tuned. I think it's going to happen soon. We're like, that was on Saturday, Aaron.
And no, it is good.
I don't know what you think soon means.
I had a Green Bay fan because I used to live in the Midwest, and I had a fan who actually lives there in Wisconsin who was texting me and said, you know, what's going to be interesting is that Aaron Rodgers, the 6 months out of the year that he was living there in Green Bay, they're saying he didn't realize we don't talk about a lot of quirky, weird stuff he does because that's family. It's Green Bay. We literally the only team that is owned by the fans itself, owned by the people. We don't operate that way. We're a small market team. There's still some family secrets that stay in house here because we don't have a big media market media conglomerate that covers this market. But he says, wait till he gets to New York City and his weird little idiosyncrasies and weird things, they start getting out every day because there's a daily news and there's 3 or 4 different main media companies that have to cover the New York Jets, and they're following you around everywhere you go, and they see what kind of coffee order you make, and they see all these other weird things that we don't care about in Green Bay. We thought it was weird, but we don't care about it because you know what? Just be Aaron Rodgers, go win games.
Yeah.
But he said New York people, they're going to care about it, and they're going to, more importantly, they're going to judge you for it. We don't judge it. They're going to judge you for it.
Oh, no.
And I never thought about it. He said they probably did cover up a lot. Not cover up, just decided to be very discreet about a lot.
And that's Austin has always been the town, and it's changing now, but it was always a town where celebrities could come or musicians would be, and they were like, oh, it's cool. I can just walk around, and people just kind of let you have your space. And they went, oh. And I can imagine Green Bay's like that. You see Aaron Rodgers, and you're like, oh, it's Aaron Rodgers. Hey, you know what? Let's not bother him. He's having dinner.
Yeah.
And I think he did that. That does not exist in New York as much.
No.
Because someone will walk up to you, except your fans will say, we won't bother him, he's at dinner. But then some guy who lost $48 on a bet.
Some Patriots fan.
is going to come up and tell you how awful you are.
Yeah.
And so it's like, that's New York. It is going to be a massive culture shock for him. I think he's going to enjoy it for a period. But again, I mean, I don't know what the compensation is for this trade. If we're looking at what Russell Wilson was and what Matt Stafford was, and I'm the Jets, and I know you need a quarterback, this is not what I would do because this is a 1 year, at 2 years at best, rental. Like, I just don't like going that far in and going, let's leverage so much on this one guy who halfway through the season could say his mental health is bad and walk away. And mental health is a problem. I'm not making it. I'm saying Aaron Rodgers is the type of guy who could walk away halfway through a season and never care and never walk. Like, I don't think he has any loyalty to anyone but himself.
I love this, Jeff. I love this, Jeff text. Rodgers in New York is going to have some Ben Affleck-sized photos with him with coffee and a smoke and Crocs.
Oh, yeah.
The city just wore him down. I love that. That's great. Okay, speaking of, because if you're not going to do the Aaron Rodgers thing and you're the Jets, Jets, man, then you should definitely be trying to do the Lamar Jackson thing.
I think you can, and I think there's another team. The Rams have said Matt Stafford's available.
The nation, well, I guess they got no draft capital, actually. So
no, but the Jets can.
I was saying the Jets can, but I'm talking about the Rams can, I guess.
No, the Jets can go over and send Matt Stafford, can go, you need some picks. Here's some picks for Matt Stafford so you get your salary off. We still get a 2-year rental quarterback that we wanted, and we pay less than we were going to pay for Aaron Rodgers.
I right now with you, I think the Jets should be considering Lamar Jackson just as the contingency plan, the backup plan in case Aaron Rodgers pulls some ultimate diva move.
I think you should, if you're going to be all this in and this pot committed and already in, I think you should take Lamar Jackson over Aaron Rodgers personally, because that is a long-term answer that you can build a team around, and Aaron Rodgers is not. So you're going to have to draft quarterbacks basically in your next 2 drafts and hope one of them hits.
Jeremy Fowler, do we have this audio real quick? Jeremy Fowler was on ESPN, and I was shocked to hear him say this. Speaking of, Jets should be thinking about Lamar Jackson. He's basically claiming now that there is no Lamar Jackson market. essentially as is, like with the guaranteed contract and the 2 first-round picks. Here's Jeremy Fowler on ESPN.
Where are we headed with the non-exclusive tag on Lamar Jackson, the 32 whatever million that's due to him if he signs that tag this season?
Yeah, Key, it's all the above. I don't expect him to sign the tag. I don't expect teams to make offers here soon. And I've talked to multiple teams who predict that no team will make an offer. But as crazy as it sounds, doesn't mean that they think that they shouldn't. They think that they should. But there's a lot going on here with I know the singular talent is great, right? So you look at that and you say, yes, offers should be made. But you got to start a whole new offense, pay the 2 first-round picks, $200+ million in guarantees is what it looks like. He's been injured 2 straight years. Like there's a lot going on. Like it's not an easy calculation for some of these teams. Plus, free agency, it behooves no team to make an offer right now where the Ravens would have 5 days to match, and then you're just sitting there waiting in middle March. Like there's time here. They could do it after the draft even. So I think this will linger.
All right, there you go. I can't believe that. He's saying there is no Lamar. Nobody's going to make him an offer or make an offer for Lamar Jackson.
So, and I think the other point of bringing this in, which I get but I don't, is basically your entire free agency hinges on one player. If that's the case, because of the 5 days that Baltimore has to match it between Wednesday, they have 5 days from Wednesday to match your offer. So you basically have, if he's making $45 million, $50 million a year, that much cap space tied up for 4 or 5 days until Baltimore says no. And then if you get him, but if Baltimore matches, your entire free agency, entire next season's done. So there is a risk in that sense as well. Like, unless you go, hey, man, we're only going to really try and sign a quarterback right now anyway. We're only going to try and make this one move anyway. Then you can do it. Most of these teams are trying to get so many guys in. They don't want to be that pot committed for a quarterback and then lose him and have nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of different semantics and logistics we can get into. Come on, guys.
Oh, no, there is 100%
26-year-old quarterback in his prime in a quarterback-starved league that can't get an offer.
No.
An offer. Just an offer.
No, and the fact that we knew this before he was allowed to talk to teams even, that's where it's...
As I said, I know you can't prove collusion, but damn. I mean, it smells like it. It smells like it. It looks like it. Sounds like it. Tastes like it. I ain't saying it's it because you can't really prove it, but that's crazy. Not to make an offer. 26-year-old MVP quarterback in his prime.
And now, again, you don't want to make an offer. You want to have the conversation because if you make an offer that is, and he says, I'll agree to your, $35, $40 million a year, this, all that, the Ravens match it immediately.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying still, we're living in a quarterback-starved era where a man with 20-something allegations of sexual misconduct against him at the time got a fully guaranteed deal because of how starved we are for quarterback play.
Yeah.
And this guy can't get an offer.
No, I'm telling you.
They won't even. That means the NFL's not even entertaining it.
No.
He's basically, that's wild to me. That's crazy to me.
No, I agree.
It's hard to justify that.
If it's me and I'm one of these teams, I get the logistics. I'm calling the Ravens and saying, hey, here's the deal. We've talked to Lamar Jackson, and we're willing to offer you the 2 first-round picks and this, but we want to work out a trade so that we can get this done, and we don't want to wait the 5 days. Like, let's make this deal. We'll throw in another 5th-round pick or something else to get this done because he doesn't want to play for you anymore. We don't want to play the waiting game, and you guessing not. That would make more sense to me to do is to try and just go talk to the Ravens about it. But I don't think the Ravens want to do that either.
No, and Jeremy Fowler basically saying he's not going to sign a franchise tag anyway, so he's going to blow up the whole thing. Everybody's going to lose.
No, and I think the Players Association needs to look into how the non-exclusive franchise tag works, and bring that up in the next negotiations because it is especially for a quarterback, almost an untenable position because you can't win. Because a team can't afford to spend that much money on one team and wait 5 days. Unless you're the Cowboys and you're not going to spend any money anyway, that's the only team who could really do it in there. But I mean, it's a great move by the Ravens. The Ravens have won this, and you got to give them a lot of props as an organization. He wanted to get into a true kind of battle of business wits
with an NFL franchise, and it's fair that Lamar Jackson has lost.
Yeah.
And lost before it even started. Like this thing, it was never even they were never even worried. They knew the rest of the NFL were not going to make him an offer, collusion or not. Collusion or conclusion, it doesn't matter. Truth is, the fact of the matter is Lamar Jackson is SOL. There's no market for Lamar Jackson. Unbelievable. We'll come back. We got Off the Record on the side right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. The Oscars were this past weekend, and I told y'all. I said it like 3-4 weeks ago. I said it on Friday. I said Everything All at Once, Everything Everywhere All at Once was going to win Best Picture. I didn't know it was going to clean up like that. It dominated the Oscars. You still haven't seen it?
No.
You should go see it.
It's
I'm not
movie.
going to see it. You should go see it somewhere. Now it's not in theaters. You can just stream it.
I didn't watch the Oscars either. I didn't watch.
You didn't watch any of it?
No.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I mean, I can't. Who's got that kind of time?
No.
I mean, it's like a 4-hour event. I'm not watching all of it.
First of all, I was up here doing the Selection Sunday show.
That's
and
true.
then I was doing work, and then I went back home, and then, I was trying to handle stuff before the weekend was over.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's a good point. But, Everything Everywhere All at Once. I mean, it cleaned up. It won, I think, Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Actress. I mean, it was awesome. It was really, really inspiring for the creators of that film. I think they're from like an independent, little indie production company too. But either way, that also Brendan Fraser won Best Actor for The Whale. Haven't seen The Whale. I want to see it's like not a lot of ways to stream it. I've seen most of them. The only movies I hadn't seen that were up for Best Picture were, I didn't watch all of the Banshees of Inisherin. I ain't gonna lie, that was a boring movie. I'm sorry. I'm sure the acting was great. I got halfway through it. I couldn't finish it. It was really boring.
Yeah.
It was terribly boring.
Yeah.
So
I will not be watching that one for sure.
I watch bad movies all the time. I can watch a bad movie. That's not a thing at all. And I can watch. And most of the movies in the Best Picture category fell into this kind of specific realm. In my opinion, the acting was better than the plot or the script of a lot of the movies. Right, the individual acting was better than the plot or the script for a lot of movies. So I think that also kind of threw the nominations off somewhat too, because you had the movie Blonde. Remember the movie Blonde with what is her name? I forget her name for the Best Actress. She was up for Best Actress, the one that played Marilyn Monroe. I'll figure it out in just a second. But that movie won it was up for a Razzie for being one of the worst movies. Ana de Armas. Sorry, that's her name. She was great in it, but the movie itself was up for being one of the worst movies of the year. Tar with Cate Blanchett, she was amazing.
Yeah.
But Tar is, it's okay. It struggles to keep your attention. Yeah, kind of struggles to keep your attention a little bit. But anyway, that's just my random thoughts on it. Someone says, if you thought Banshees of Inisherin were boring, don't watch Triangle of Sadness and Women Talking. Those are snoozes. I watched Women Talking, actually, and it was okay. It feels like a play they made into a movie. I'm sure, I haven't researched that, but I'm sure it is. It felt like a play they made into a movie. And anytime they make a play into a movie, it struggles to adapt and translate. But I will say Women Talking, yes, I could see. My wife walked out on. She's like, this is boring. And she's a woman. I said, the movie's out women talking. You gonna walk out on the movie women? And I thought it was creative, the concept of it and the plot. I won't spoil it. But Banshees of Inisherin, I literally couldn't get through it. And I gotta, my attention span is not that bad, but I couldn't get through it. It was bad. I mean, it's just boring. Triangle of Sadness I've not watched, but I will. I will watch that. But I'm telling you, I would recommend Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's legit. And it's in what I would call the surrealism genre. There are some of lately we've seen some. Birdman is there. You ever seen Birdman? You ever seen Birdman,
No.
Mike Keaton?
No.
Oh, you should see Birdman.
Yeah, I don't watch any movies, though.
You got to watch
this.
Birdman. It's surreal.
I watch 2 comedies a year, maybe.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's true.
I don't watch many movies.
It's surrealism. Basically, it's like if you like to watch things on with your mind in a higher state of mind, I should say.
Yeah.
All right. Then you'd like surrealism type
Okay, I
films,
see.
and Everything Everywhere All at Once is like that.
Okay.
It's just a mind blank. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
there you go. That's kind of my random thoughts on the Oscars. I didn't watch the whole thing. Trust me, I'm not that much of a Hasidic stuffy film guy. I do try to watch every Best Picture nominee, and I missed 2 of them this year. I think I missed. Is Triangle of Sadness up for it? I'm not sure. But I didn't finish watching Banshees of Inisherin, and I didn't see Avatar, the second one. I didn't see that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw the picture of Selma Hayek in her burnt orange dress.
Oh.
Nice. That was my Oscars.
That's all you
win.
needed?
I saw Selma Hayek in a burnt orange dress. It was nice.
That's all you needed. Yeah.
Yeah,
No Will Smith was there. There you go. Jimmy Kimmel hosted. I heard he did a great job. I didn't really hear many of the jokes. All right, we'll come back. We got Texas men's basketball on the other side. We'll talk about their big win over KU. Also talk about their Big 12 tournament championship and talk about their number 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Basketball bracket season has officially begun. That means it's time for you to shoot your shot and score big on the nonstop action with MyBookie. With so many brands to choose from, you need a platform that makes it simple to bet and easy to use and easy to win like MyBookie. Whether you're filling out multiple brackets, betting on the eventual national championship winner, or simply looking for player and game props, MyBookie has you covered. Getting started with MyBookie is simple. Visit the website online, make your first deposit, use the promo code HORN, HORN to claim an exclusive deposit bonus. That's the promo code HORN, HORN, to claim some extra money on top of your initial deposit. With hundreds of thousands in prizes for Madness of March and weekly blackjack tournaments, you can turn your game day into a payday with MyBookie. Bet anything, bet anytime, and bet anywhere. As long as you're betting with MyBookie, you're betting with the best. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie. Right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. My man Patrick playing songs intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans. But, hell, all the fans here in Longhorn country are celebrating because the Longhorns had a hell of a weekend, pulling off a big win over Kansas to solidify the Big 12 tournament championship for the men. And now they are a number 2 seed heading into the big dance, into the NCAA tournament. So we'll talk about that and give the Longhorns a ton of props, and they deserve it with a Big 12 tournament championship. Also, we'll talk about Rodney Terry's future here on the 40 Acres. Before we do, let me give you the number to the Specs text line. That's how you keep up with the program. You're the heartbeat of this thing. So hit us up 512-337-3776. You also can hit us up via Twitter. I'm at Rod Davis in the Twitterverse. My man Patrick Davis said it's Patrick Davis. Hard's going to be back later on this week. You can cyberstalk him if you'd like at Hardball Harge in the Twitterverse. How epic was the Old Testament, old biblical style butt whipping that Texas put on Kansas? First team since Kansas joined the Big 12 to defeat Kansas by 15-plus points in consecutive weeks. Only the third team in the last 22 years. In the last 12 years, take that back, 12 years, that basically beat Kansas by 20-plus points in March, which doesn't happen a lot because March is money time for Kansas basketball. So Texas with a huge statement win over Kansas. Matter of fact, 2 of those, as just pointed out, in consecutive weeks. One to end their Big 12 season, and then one to end their Big 12 tournament to win the actual championship. And Patrick, honestly, the biggest storyline that I took from the game from Texas is, man, their defense right now is truly playing at an elite level. They are suffocating opponents. I mean, you're talking about a team like Kansas, one of the best teams in the country. We know that. They got a 1 seed. They won the Big 12 regular season. And Texas, when they are focused, even without Timmy Allen, of course, defensively, they are as good defensively, man, as damn near any team in the country when they are that focused and that intense.
Yeah, we know guard play is what's big in March. And luckily, Texas not only has guards that can play really well offensively, they're really good defensively as well. So even if Tyrese Hunter is struggling, he's a huge asset on the court because of the defense he can play. And as long as you're not running into teams that have, a really good big man, then Texas can play top-notch defense on pretty much anyone without that big 6'10" to 7 foot dunking the ball on you and can back you down and get all the rebounds. But the fact they play defensively, rebounding, everything else at a high level, what I said earlier, the focus they had in this tournament is what they need for the rest of the season, and it was so much fun to watch them play this whole weekend.
Yeah, I love going back to your point about the guards. We've been saying all year, you need your 3 best guards to be playing at their best, at their highest level when you get to March, when you get to money time. And that is the case for Marcus Carr. Serge Ibaka-Rice has been the most consistent guard you've had all season long. But Tyrese Hunter, offensively, has not really found his groove or his rhythm offensively. But defensively, man, he's giving you such intense effort defensively. He did a phenomenal job, just kind of face guarding, denying DeJuan Harris, The Rock. And with Arterio Morris now playing, more minutes, but also playing more impactful minutes. I mean, it's that 10-0 run that Texas had in the first half. I mean, that was basically kind of an Arterio Morris run, pretty much. He had the steal, had the layup, had the three-pointer in that, and then really part of Texas, I think they were down 3, ended up being up 7 by the end of that 10-0 run. Most of that just sparked by Arterio Morris and his just sheer freakish athleticism. But also, I mean, he provides a spark offensively now. Now, offensively, he's playing more confidently. He's shooting more confidently on the offensive end. So that, I think, can almost help you moneyball that third guard. You get Marcus Carr, you're getting Serge Ibaka-Rice, both playing at a high level, but you're not getting the offensive contribution from Tyrese Hunter. You're getting high-level defense from him, but now Arterio Morris giving you some defensive plays too, but now he's the guy that can come in and spark the offense from you from the backcourt.
Well, and you needed that when you take Jabari Rice, who has been your spark all season off the bench, and we know that Texas has slow starts a lot. They have struggles going. And Jabari Rice has been that guy who's been able to come in and kind of spark them. Once you move him to the starting lineup, you now need somebody else off the bench to step up, and that has been Arterio Morris because he has stepped up in a big way. He's got fresh legs, has not played a ton this entire season, so he has got better legs than a lot of these guys do, and he's just so athletic that he can fly around the court. And when you have somebody come in with the confidence, I mean, they've just seemed to all fit into feeling that they understand the offense and defense well enough now that we're not seeing Dillon Mitchell and Arterio Morris and Tyrese Hunter have those kind of points of the game where they're not in the right spot, or maybe they're not, not watching a back screen as well, or any of those things, not fighting through screens the way they need to be, or going over the top, or just knowing assignments. It seems like they're getting to the part of the season where they know where they're at, and Arterio Morris right now being able to be that guy as a freshman is huge.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, he's finding his form at the perfect time for them. And let's not forget about the most outstanding player in the Big 12, kind of bearing the lead with Dylan Dessou, who is now playing his best basketball and being named most outstanding player of the Big 12 tournament. It kind of shows you that this team is peaking at the right time. The question is, because Timmy Allen's been out, because Timmy Allen's been dealing with an injury for the last couple of games, so he's been out. But it's allowed some other guys to find a new role within the offense. And Dylan Dessou is one of those guys that now he's kind of found a new identity within the offense. It's been trending that way for a while, but definitely in these last couple of games, we've seen this offense actually change. I was talking earlier about Marcus Carr, who started out in the game struggling, and Longhorn fans have been talking about that for a while. He was 1 of 5, and then he makes a conscious decision to get to the paint, drives to the paint, and it creates contact, gets the foul, gets an and one, misses the free throw, but that almost breaks him, and it does break him out of his funk. He made his next 5 shots, ended up with 17 points in the game, and ended up being getting back to his old self, finding his old form. And the offense now seems to have more spacing with Timmy Allen. Not saying you don't need Timmy Allen. You need Timmy Allen, no question. I do wonder, though, if Timmy Allen is thrust back in the exact same role he was prior to his injury, considering what the team looks like now offensively.
Yeah, and I think it's hard to look at what they did in this Big 12 tournament and think we should go back, but also you had a good season. So there is 2 lines of thoughts in it. Depending on whether you start him or not, I think you have to be very aware of the time that you have Timmy Allen and Dillon Mitchell on the court at the same time. Okay. That, to me, is the biggest thing. I know that both those guys they're probably both going to still be starting, but you may see that, you pull Jabari Rice in a lot sooner than you would have for Dillon Mitchell. And so you let Dillon Mitchell start, but then you rotate him out for another guard and run 3 guards and Timmy Allen with Dylan Dessou. And that, to me, is a possibility depending on unless the other team's going to really try and go big. Timmy Allen's a strong enough guy. He can defend pretty well against big guys, put a body on him and stuff, and they can't guard him defensively. So it's not unless you go against one of those teams that has a solid 4 and 5. So, like, if you're going against Kansas with McCullers, you can't run that because Wilson and McCullers are going to be in there, and Wilson is going to give Timmy Allen fits and go in the basket. You're going to have to get help over. It becomes harder then. It also can affect your rebounding some. But I think it's something that Timmy Allen could adapt to. That's more of where it's just looking at the rotation throughout the entire game to try and keep yourself more spread out on that court, have more three-point threats to not allow people to sag off, and open up that space for Dylan Dessou. And the great part about Dylan Dessou is he's hitting that little floater thing that normally should be – that little push shot is normally like a 6, 7, 8-foot shot.
Yeah.
He's hitting up to 10, 15 feet away.
I know.
Which, if he's hitting out there, then opens up for a Dillon Mitchell or a Timmy Allen to get right underneath the basket and those guards to get in and go and get layups. Because now he's even pulling a guy out because they have – well, I'm trying to rim protect, but this guy's hitting a push shot from the free throw line.
Like a Bill Cartwright style.
and it's there right now, usually when you get into March, usually – The refs are going to let you play a little bit more. They're going to try and trust that these are all good teams that are playing.
There's a lot of contact in that Kansas game.
Yeah, especially in a championship game, you're like, man, these 2 of the best teams in the conference. We're going to let them play a little bit more. You get the better refs. You get all of these things. So it should end up, in a sense, that Texas is able to not get into the foul trouble that they get into. And if you pull those defenders out, they're going to try. They can't go in and get clean blocks. So that's where you get hacking arms and stuff like that, where you can get to the free throw line. It's impressive if Dylan Disu can stay on the court. We know he got an early foul trouble. If he can stay on the court and still be hitting those 15-footers of little push shot, that's just, it's a hard shot that he's hitting.
No.
I know it doesn't look pretty, but that's it. The touch he has on it and how soft he's putting it up. So he's bouncing it on the rim and still getting him to fall in.
Yeah.
That shooter's touch he has, it really makes a difference of how spread open that court can be when everything's not two guys right underneath the basket and then Timmy Allen's in the mid-range and then you have two guys on the outside, but they're already kind of shadowing Marcus Carr anyway because they don't want him to get open looks. So then it relies completely on Tyrese Hunter being able to stretch the defense with his three. Now you pull Jabari Rice out there. Well, now we have to have somebody out on Jabari Rice as well because we know he can hit him. And now Tyrese Hunter's three becomes he's started driving the ball a little bit better. So he can get the ball, and if you're running out on him, he can drive past you and try and get a better shot or an assist.
No, I mean, you kind of broke it down there into the detail as to why there is more space. There's no question. It seems like there is more space for guys like Marcus Carr. And that little high screen and roll he does with Disu, they couldn't stop it.
No,
they had no answer for it at all.
I mean, that's where the
little push shot kept coming from.
The little push shot kept coming from that. We got the inbound play that they ran, 15, 20 times during the tournament, and no one stops
it. Is it Jabari Rice?
Well, it's whatever guard. It's that run around.
Yeah, he runs around.
He runs around and then gets it on the baseline, and they get that little float shot right by the basket.
It's nice.
Because a bunch of guards have run it.
Yeah.
But they keep getting it.
I've seen it with Jabari Rice. And we talked about how they didn't have any set plays.
I've seen it with Tyrese Hunter. I've seen it with Marcus Carr. And it's funny because I think they started doing it maybe in that Kansas game, but they've just done it. And it's just like, well, as long as no one's stopping it, we're just going to keep doing it. And there's that's probably option one, and there's option two and option three.
But nobody defends option one. I'm with you. I've seen it too.
Doing it.
I think every Longhorn fan knows the player you're talking about because they've seen it so much. It really, and I'll give them a lot of credit. Lilla, we talked about a couple of weeks ago. We need to see more set plays.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't they have more set plays coming out of timeouts? They should have more set plays. Is that not one of Rodney Terry's strengths? And obviously, we're starting to see it. I don't know if it's Rodney Terry, the coaching staff, but they've done a really good job now having more effective set plays coming out of timeouts. So let's have the Rodney Terry conversation just really quickly. My man Chip Brown over at Horns 24/7 doing a good job. He put out a piece today saying that Texas interim coach Rodney Terry is improving his standing in terms of being considered as the Longhorns' permanent basketball coach, but nothing has been decided at this point. A high-ranking university source told Horns 24/7 on Sunday. Also, the source said, one step at a time, apparently. I think it's, it'd be different if they didn't know that Rodney Terry wants this job. Rodney Terry wants this job. He's going to be offered other jobs. He's going to be offered, if Texas doesn't make him their head coach, he's going to be offered another great job somewhere else. He's going to get another great job, and he deserves that Sporting News Coach of the Year. I do think for Texas being in this leveraged position, I guess I should say, for lack of a better term, they don't have to make the commitment to Rodney Terry just yet. They can afford to wait to make the most informed decision after the tournament. How far and how deep he goes, we don't know. We all hope it's pretty deep. But they can afford now to wait. Even if they already decided behind the scenes, he's our guy. He's the guy.
Yeah.
He's the front runner. He's the guy. But I think for them, just now kind of obviously playing the game, if you will, I do think for Texas, there's no incentive for them to make the move now. There's no real incentive for them to make the move now. Even if they are going to make the move eventually, inevitably. And I think that actually could be the case now, considering he just won the Big 12 tournament. I don't think right now there's any incentive. They still want to see how the tournament goes, but I think we're all right now, all the signs are pointing to him making a successful run the tournament. What's your definition of success? I don't know. Is it second weekend, third weekend? We're talking about Elite 8, Sweet 16. Everybody's probably got a different definition of that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to talk seeding-wise, you're saying Elite 8.
You're saying Elite 8. Get past.
That's seeding-wise. You're a 2 seed.
That's true.
So the first game that you could lose to a higher seed would be in the Elite 8.
So you're saying you can't be upset?
No, I'm saying you could probably lose in the Sweet 16 and it would be okay. He could still be the coach. It depends on, what matchups you're talking about. It depends on what happens in the tournament. Because if you go into it and you go, oh man, we got hosed on some calls in that game, and somebody kind of got hurt, then you can't go blame that all on Rodney Terry. But just saying, of expectations right now for the University of Texas is you are a 2 seed. That means that you should not be upset, make it to the Elite Eight.
That's true.
That is just basic chalk math.
Jay Wright's got him making it to the Final Four.
No, Dickie V has him making it in the championship
You got
game.
going all the way? Yeah. I want to say a few
so
of them
like, I get, we can have higher expectations. You may have lower expectations. That is just what the seeding is of when you earn a 2 seed, you're expected to make it there. I think Rodney Terry needs to make it to the second weekend, or else it is a real disappointment. And let's not forget who their opponent could be in Game 2.
Yeah.
If the Texas A&M Aggies, who got hosed and should not be a 7 seed, they are a 6 seed at worst, but probably a 5 seed, got hosed. But I think they wanted that matchup, so they're putting them in there. They have to beat Penn State. So they do have to beat Penn State.
Yeah.
But if they beat Penn State, Texas has to beat Colgate. They do that. Then we get a Texas versus Texas A&M. Texas A&M is very hot right now. That'll be a huge game. So that one is, if you lose that, some of those boosters who've been asking for another coach in the moment,
especially the A&M one, because that's an emotional loss if you lose it.
Could be something
loss,
that would put boosters more on the, we need a experienced
We need
coach.
a big-time coach.
Yes.
We need a guy that's got a big name.
there is that out there.
Splash hire coach.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is still a thing. You beat A&M now those boosters,
Hell yeah.
they get to
Damn
talk
right.
some trash because you know what, they're hearing it because you know who knocked Texas out of the world the
Aggies.
baseball
Yeah.
college
The World
baseball World
Series?
Series could not get that out.
Yeah.
College baseball World Series last year was the Aggies, so they're up one on us right now. Texas can get it back in the tournament if they play them on Saturday.
Yeah, it does show you that at least that rivalry still got some cachet because it's obvious the decision makers, they wanted that matchup in the second round, and they're predicting that matchup in the second round. So, yeah, I mean, and I know the Aggies, yes, y'all did get hosed. Everybody can, even Longhorn fans can admit, Aggies got hosed.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you go.
If Duke's a 5 seed, and Texas A&M is a 5 seed.
Yeah, and I will say, yeah, Duke is Duke, but still, it shouldn't be about reputation.
But they both struggled early in the season.
Yes, exactly.
Got hot late in the season, except A&M did it in the SEC, which is a really good conference, which is a pretty good conference, and Duke did in the ACC, which is a garbage conference this year.
No.
So if we're going piece for piece, there's no way they're 2 seeds worse than them. Also, we can point out Oklahoma State should have been in the tournament. That was just bad.
Ended up with 7 teams from the Big 12, correct?
7 teams. They were apparently the first team out. Was Big 12. So you can blame that. Oklahoma State can blame that on Houston because Memphis would not have made the tournament unless they beat Houston in that conference championship game. So you can blame it on Houston if you want, that they should have won their tournament and you would have gotten in as the last team out.
That's a good point.
But no, that is they definitely should have been in. They got hurt because the records are just lower in the Big 12 because every road game was insane this year.
Well, and this Texas basketball team, the reason I'm so proud of the team as a Longhorn, I don't get into how proud I am of the team, that kind of stuff, but because we're always talking about analysis and that kind of stuff. But this is a team had high expectations to start the season, right? They opened the mood.
Yep.
They're a brand new arena to open the season. High expectations. They're a top 10 team to open the season. Early on with the win over the Zags, big statement win for Texas. Then they have the Chris Beard situation.
Yep.
Chris Beard is charged. And then they get an interim coach in Rodney Terry. There's all of this uncertainty around the program. They find a way to galvanize. They find a way as a unit to intrinsically, right, overcome these obstacles and these trials and these tribulations. They end up in a situation where they could win the Big 12 regular season, and then they have a lull. Right, they had a chance to be in the conversation to win the Big 12 regular season, and then they had a bit of like I said, they had a bit of a downturn in their season. It wasn't necessarily anything disastrous, but they had a letdown. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And then after the letdown, they come back with that win over Kansas, huge to end the regular season. I believe right around that time, Coach Terry ends up winning Coach of the Year for the Sporting News, like right around that time or after that. Go into the Big 12 tournament. dealing with the Timmy Allen injury. He ends up being out, and now they're playing their best basketball of the season, end up beating Kansas again. Not just beating Kansas, but putting an Old Testament-style butt-whipping on Kansas for the second time in 2 weeks and win the Big 12 tournament title for the second time as a program.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I know, and this is a common thing on the text sign.
They're number 5 or something.
And
right
this is
now,
a common thing that on the text sign, it's a common thing that people would talk about Rodney Terry. In college basketball, the assistants recruit more than the head coach does. The head coach comes in, the assistant coaches are guys who go out there, scout a lot more talent. They're the guys in the homes a lot. All of these guys were recruited heavily by Rodney Terry. Jabari Rice, the guy who told Texas about getting Jabari Rice, was Rodney Terry. Mm-hmm. The whole thing of an experience, I get that, if we did not have an experienced team, we probably wouldn't have been as good. But we were not going to be expected to be as good if we didn't have an experienced team. So that it wasn't going to be good for Chris Beard if there wasn't a experienced team as well. And then you throw in the fact of the whole thing with Chris Beard was he could bring in transfers. We have a lot of experience. These are not guys that came to Texas originally. Most of our seniors are transfers. Mm-hmm. Brock Cunningham is our only senior that came to Texas, started freshman at Texas. So there's a lot of this point where you can say, well, this is Chris Beard's guys or this is experienced team. Rodney Terry has a lot to do with that. Rodney Terry's helped bring in a lot of these guys. So I get it, but I think that this is you have to give him credit and not take away all of his credit for helping build this team as well. He is a huge part of building this team. Going forward, his stake of when you're talking to teams and what you can sell them on is how far he goes in this tournament.
Yeah.
So when he's recruiting, if he makes a Final Four, then guess what? He's a Final Four coach. And whatever you want to say, when he's going to someone's house, he's the guy who took him to the Final Four, and that's pretty much is what you're going to get from most other big-name hires that are out there. There's a couple guys that are national champions that maybe you could steal away, but to see if they still want to be in the game, to see if they're still ready to go, that's a risk to let Rodney Terry go for that.
It is. I don't. Like I said, right now, I don't know if there's a right or a wrong answer for it. Because there can be valid points made about whether Rodney Terry has a vision for the program going forward, or whether he can recruit the right guys to execute that vision. I get all that, but there's no doubt about it. He's done everything within his power, pretty much, to give him the best opportunity to be considered for the Texas job. I don't know what else Rodney Terry can do. The rest of it might just be out of his control. Now, yes, got to be able to make a run in the tournament, but we're talking about something Texas hadn't done since last time Texas went to the Elite Eight or the Final Four. We're talking about 08 was the last time they got past the Sweet 16?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Final Four was TJ Ford, right?
Yeah, I think that was the last 03?
Yeah, I'd say 03.
Something
my
like
guess
that.
off the top of my head. It's 03 or 04.
Yeah, so listen, Rodney Terry can do that, great. But I'm with you. He's got to get past the second weekend to truly, if he's going to be a front runner for the job, he's got, I think, past second weekend, he gets to the front runner status.
Oh,
he's probably already there.
Let's put it this way. If he gets to the Elite Eight, I think he's the front runner. And if you get past the second weekend and you're in the Final Four.
Oh, then it's his job.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So past the second weekend, because the first weekend is the one we won one game 32. Then you're
if he gets
the
past
original round, the one we won game 32.
He gets the Sweet 16.
Sweet 16 is second round.
I think he's a front runner then.
Yeah. I think 2 wins gets you to be a front runner. 3 wins makes you really hard. 4 wins, I don't get how you do it. I don't get how you say this guy just took a team to the Final Four. Let's go get a better coach.
Yeah. No, the specs text line is pretty split. I mean, some people are like, give him the job. A lot of Longhorn fans are like, nah, I'm not so
I can tell you, as someone who's there, I know people think he doesn't chew out his team enough. I know I keep seeing things that I don't know what y'all are watching. I'm just saying I don't know what you're watching if you don't think he gets on this team.
Yeah. Someone says Terry helped bring National Players of the Year, TJ Ford and Kevin Durant to Austin, as well as All-American guard DJ Augustine. Yeah, no, that's a good point there. And Chan says, wait, how bad can it be if we stuck with Shaka for that long with nothing going? Give him the job now. Yeah, you always can give him the job. If it don't work out, you can hire somebody. It's not like he's going to trash the program or anything like that. I mean, if you made a mistake, but obviously
also, it's college basketball at this point. you can't trash a program the way you used to be able to because the transfer portal. The transfer portal is huge.
Yeah, you would know early because guys just started leaving.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well, no, and that's when it's gone. And you can rebuild a team in 2 years now because you can bring in seniors and juniors and sophomores, and you can bring in more guys.
Yeah, no, I said Longhorns are pretty split on this, and I can tell Longhorns are pretty kind of split down the middle about if he's the guy for Texas basketball, for the future of Texas basketball, or if he's just doing a really good job right now in the circumstance, and Texas needs to look elsewhere. So hit us up on the Spec Text line, 512-337-3776. Like I said, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer with it right now. It's not. Now, we get deep into the tournament, then, yeah, I think that argument that he has not done enough to win the job, I think that'll start to die down just a little bit. But, yeah, the tournament's what it's all about. It's all about tournaments, and as Patrick mentioned, it's all about getting guys to the NBA. And I love the point you brought up earlier, Patrick. Naming a coach now, or at least removing the interim tag, I do wonder, motivation-wise, how it affects the team. It's clear this team wants Rodney Terry to get that job. They're playing for their coach.
Yes.
They want him to have that job.
So let him keep fighting for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let him keep fighting for it. Hey, fight for yourselves, fight for the coach.
No doubt.
That's how you win games.
I love it. All right, we come back. We'll talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Apparently, they've made some more moves to clear some cap space. It's free agency. We'll talk about what that means for Cowboys fans. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. My friend Dr. Greg Eckert can be your friend, too. As a matter of fact, you have any concerns about your dental health or hygiene, or before any concerns come up about your dental health or hygiene, you need to reach out to Dr. Greg Eckert and his fantastic team. Doesn't matter what concerns you have. Maybe it's dental anxiety, where they specialize in easing dental anxiety. Maybe it's about any general dentistry, teeth whitening, dentures, porcelain crowns, veneers, dental implants, full mouth reconstruction, even root canal therapy. Whatever it takes to ensure you're getting the best quality dental care available, that's what Dr. Greg Eckert and his fantastic team are all about. Now, Dr. Greg Eckert really cares, because the first time I met Dr. Greg Eckert, I'm in his office, hanging out there. A lady comes out, she's crying, and I'm thinking to myself, see, this is why I don't go to the dentist, because people, they get sad here, all right, and they feel a lot of pain. Turns out she was not sad, and she was not feeling a lot of pain. She was crying tears of joy because Dr. Greg Eckert had given her the smile that she had always wanted. She looked in the mirror, and she didn't think there was any way that her smile would ever look that good. But Dr. Greg Eckert made it his mission to give her the smile that she always wanted. He can do the same for you. He can give you a brand new smile in just one day. Permanently secured to your dental implants. No time spent without teeth. You get temporary fixtures until you complete your permanent smile, and you'll smile again with confidence and eat freely without pain or discomfort. We're talking about a lifelike permanent solution. So if you've been told your teeth need to be replaced, call Dr. Greg Eckert today and learn about this revolutionary alternative to dentures. It's a brand new smile in just one day. Give them a call. You got nothing to lose but everything to gain, because it's a complimentary consultation. 512-345-3166. It sounds too good to be true. It's just Dr. U. 512-345-3166. DrEckert.com. DRUECKERT.com. All right, welcome back to Valdo Live right here on 104.9 The Horn. I want to talk some Cowboys, but I want to get a couple of these texts here about the Rodney Terry discussion because they're pretty good. Texter says, if Terry were doing what he's doing at Texas right now at UCLA or Kentucky or Indiana, we'd be looking to bring him home if we had an opening. He's our own. Keep him. The grass ain't always greener. I like that text. It's a good text. Well thought out. One texter here says, oh, thank you. Good discussion, gentlemen. Y'all hashed it out very well. Thank you for that. He says, it's like Switzer following Jimmy Johnson, except you can't retain a team with big contracts in Rodney Terry's case. You know, some people are big on that, right? He said, it's really hard to evaluate Rodney Terry. There's a big difference in operating what someone has built versus being able to build it and operate it yourself. That is fair. Like, we don't know how well he executes his own vision as opposed to executing Beard's or rescuing Beard's vision in a crisis situation, which he's done an amazing job of.
Yeah, no, and I get there is questions of in the transfer portal, how aggressive can he be in the transfer portal, or does he want to go more recruiting, which would be a longer build for Texas coming out of having a lot of guys that can move on. The question could be, how is he going to put together his staff? There's a lot of head coaching experience on the staff to come coach for Chris Beard. How many of them might move on afterwards, and how does he build his staff? There are those questions. Those are the exact same questions you get to ask about any single coach you hire, because there isn't a coach in college basketball that's out there that you go is a sure thing, get us to the Final Four in 2 or 3 years. It doesn't exist, because you can bring them in, and they have to be the secondary sport at a school, and a lot of those big-time coaches don't like that and will not rub them the right way to have to go realize that football is going to be king in Texas.
Says if Texas does not hire Terry, it would basically be the same thing as firing him for what he has done to date. No school would fire a coach after the year that he had. It's good text there.
Again, this is all before the tournament. If he loses to Colgate, this conversation, we walk in here on Friday.
It's moot.
And tell man, who's our next coach?
Yeah.
So I get it, but we don't know until after this tournament.
Text says, if Jay Wright or Billy Donovan will come, I'd take them. But outside of that, I'd take Rodney Terry. That's not a question like if you don't want Rodney Terry, who do you want? Not a nap guy says, pay the man. Give him some, pay that man. Straight cash, homie. Chris Bennett, my man CB. Sorry, CB, for calling you by your full name. That's not my style. So he says, TJ Ford was at Texas before Terry got there. Ford got Texas in 01 and Terry in 02. Oh, he wants to know that he didn't recruit him. So appreciate that. Keeping us on our toes, CB. All right, so we'll get back to some of those texts. Keep them coming. Someone says, in Rod we trust, and they weren't talking about me. I think they were talking about Rodney Terry, but I took it for a compliment for me. So
you should take it.
I'm gonna take that compliment every time. Someone says if he loses to Colgate, you gotta. Yeah, I mean, no, if he loses to Colgate, then it's done. I mean, he's not. If he doesn't make it past the second round, I don't necessarily think the job is guaranteed to be his.
Yeah, and that is where a Jay Wright and a Billy Donovan have got tons of questions. That has been a long time since he has coached college basketball. Because he went to the NBA, so this it may not work out if he comes in either. So that's not a sure thing either. The game has changed a lot since he's been there.
No question. Good discussion there. Okay, let's talk about the Cowboys really quickly. They just cleared some more cap space. I feel like we're in a Groundhog Day of a Groundhog Day of off-season gaslighting for Cowboys fans, and I feel like we relive this every off-season. And you let me know if it sounds familiar. Jerry Jones stirs the pot. Just us talking about random stuff, whatever it may be, get you guys riled up. They cleared cap space, which they've done twice now. They actually restructured Michael Gallup most recently and cleared up another, I believe it's $7 million in cap space from the Michael Gallup thing. Yeah, you go. So they restructured him. So now they got, I believe, close to $20 million in cap space. Ooh, cap space. Fans get all excited, which we are now. We're titillated. Ooh, we're excited.
How much cap space did they have going into opening day yesterday? Or like the first game? Or last year?
Oh, 20. It was like 20-something million. Yeah,
right. So, just saying.
The rainy day fund.
Just saying.
The rainy day fund. Great point there, Patrick. The big player is linked to the Cowboys. Bobby Wagner, Odell Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins. Ooh. Then there's ultimately, Cowboys are also interested. Yes! Then you get there's mutual interest. Oh, mutual interest between the Cowboys and this great player and cap space. It seems like it's a perfect match. This is definitely going to happen. And then ultimately, Cowboys strike out, don't get that player, and the 4 words you love to hear, we like our guys. That is it. That's the groundhog gaslighting offseason stages for the Dallas Cowboys fans. And it happens every offseason. And it's happening again. Right now, we're at what stage are we in right now, Patrick? Players linked to Cowboys. We're in that stage right now, right? Bobby Wagner, Odell Beckham Jr., DeAndre Hopkins. Oh, and the cap space. We've cleared cap space.
Yep.
We're ready to make a move.
We're ready.
Yeah.
We got to sign those free agents first, though. So are those draft picks first? We got to sign the draft picks first.
Got to sign the draft
picks. Make sure
picks
we
first.
have all them signed.
Do you want to know where the Cowboys have finished since 2012 in free agency spending? I got it from Spot Track. In 2012, Cowboys were spending. Something happened around 20. You know what? Actually, it actually coincides with Dak's ascent to being the starting quarterback. Jerry Jones went from being a big spender in free agency, which was probably not the right way to go either. He was overly excited about free agency, and he wasn't building enough through the draft. Now, you have the opposite. Cowboys are the most homegrown team in the NFL. No team builds through the draft more than the Cowboys, and no team builds less through free agency than the Dallas Cowboys. So here you go. The ranking in free agency spending since 2012. 10th, 12th, tied for 11th, tied for 9th, 11th. Oh, yeah, top 10, baby. Every year, got to make something happen. Then they drop off a cliff. Starting in 2017, 25th, 26th, 20th, 28th, and 19th last year. Now, I'm not saying that the Cowboys are building the wrong way. As a matter of fact, when you look at the value of contracts, and they do that based on like wins above replacement, if you look at the value of contracts that are signed in the NFL, unrestricted free agent contracts are by far the most expensive, and you get the least return on your investment. If you look at contracts that are signed that give you the most return on your investment, the most bang for your buck, drafted players, less than 10% of your salary cap ends up being those drafted players, but they give you nearly 39 wins above replacement. When you extend your own players that you drafted, once they become free agents, still it's about less than 20% of your salary cap, right around 20%, and 34 wins above replacement. So there's no doubt about it. You get more return on your investment from contracts that are signed from players you drafted or players you extended that were drafted by you. The problem with the Dallas Cowboys is, and I've said this before, and this is the quote from Stephen Jones. This is Stephen Jones' belief about free agency. And you can tell he's the one that's been able to compel Jerry Jones to spend less, which is good, but he's cheap in free agency and not frugal. Right? Remember I said there's a difference between being cheap and being frugal? You don't want to be cheap. You want to be frugal. And the Cowboys are just cheap in free agency. This is what Stephen Jones said about free agency. Quote, you're going to pay good players like they're great, average players like they're good, below average players like they're average. It's just not a great way to build a football team. He's right. Not a great way to build a football team, but it is a great way to supplement and complement roster construction. Truth is, the Cowboys are arguably top 5, top 10 in the NFL last 5 to 8 years. All right, in their draft productivity, in their draft success rate. They're also one of the top 5, top 10 best teams last 5 to 8 years in undrafted free agency hit rates. They're phenomenal in those two areas. And that is basically 80% of their roster construction. Most homegrown team in the league. The problem with that is they'll always be outmaneuvered. And in my opinion, they'll always be surpassed, like they were this past offseason, by teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, like teams like the 49ers, teams like the Rams, like the Bucks, who are willing to use any available resource, any available means of talent acquisition at their disposal to improve their roster. Cowboys are not, because they think that free agency is just too expensive, at least the start of it. They think trades are just too volatile. So they only using half of the resources and options available to construct their roster. That, in a nutshell, is why you're Dallas Cowboys. And it's not the only reason, but that's why they're starting behind the rest of the league. Because the rest of the league, with the NBAification of the NFL, they're becoming more aggressive. There are more trades now, more free agency moves being made now. And the Cowboys are making less free agency moves, less trades. Doesn't make sense. So that's the flawed business model of the Cowboys. Their flawed roster construction is they just don't use enough. Think about all the teams that have won recently. We're talking about the Rams, or you're talking about the Bucks, or you're talking about the Eagles who surpassed the Cowboys. Even the 49ers realize, oh, I need the trade market. I need free agency. I need it all. Every possible available means to upgrade my roster. I must use it by any means necessary. Cowboys don't think that way. They only want to build their roster in the most fiscally conservative, frugal manner possible, which is the draft and which is undrafted free agency. And I don't disagree with that. That is a fact. That is true. But it is also flawed because you have to use the other means of talent acquisition. If you don't, you're going to end up exactly where the Cowboys are right now, in the middle. All right, we come right back. We'll get into more NFL news, notes, and nuggets right here on Ball Don't Lie. 104.9 The Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about Apple Leasing, because what they understand is that time is money. We all know that, but their business is saving you both. They're going to save you time, save you money, and also find you great value. My friends at Apple Leasing have the ability to put you in any make or model vehicle that you want. The professionals over at Apple Leasing can help you get the price you want, the payment you want on the car that you want, and all it takes is one phone call or one click on Apple Leasing's website, and you'll get a quote on any make or model vehicle that you want. They can even give you an estimate on the value of your trade-in right over the phone. Apple Leasing's simple interest easy lease makes life simple because it gives you more flexibility, which is going to give you more possibilities and options to help you find the vehicle that fits you best, but more importantly, the vehicle that fits your budget best. Inflation is out of control. It's through the roof. It's never been more expensive to buy a new car, buy a used car, buy anything for that matter. So leasing makes more sense than ever. You're only paying for the part of the car you're actually using. So call Apple Leasing today, 512-346-9977. That's 512-346-9977. Or visit appleleasing.com. That's appleleasing.com. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Smooth Soul Monday edition of Ball Don't Lie. So I was just talking about the Dallas Cowboys and when they shifted their philosophy. They used to be over-leveraged in free agency in terms of talent acquisition, and now they are basically over-leveraged, if you will, in the draft. Like they're too overly invested in building just through the draft and undrafted free agency. And it started in 2017. In free agency spending in 2012 through 2016, they were 10th, 12th, 11th, 9th, and 11th. Cowboys fans remember these days. And then 2017, they dropped to 25th, and then 26th in 2018, 20th, 28th in 2020, and 19th in 2021 in free agency spending. Patrick, you got a theory about this, and I think your theory is around the money.
I believe that this somewhat coincides with Will McClay's rise in the organization, his continued good drafts, scouting players and personnel, but leveraging more on the side of the draft.
You're right. Senior Director of Pro and College Scouting in 2015, and he became the VP of Player Personnel in 2017. It lines right up with when they shifted their philosophy in talent acquisition. And I think he's fantastic. Like I said, they're one of the top 5 teams in the NFL, arguably top 5 to 10 in draft success rate and draft hit rate. They need to diversify, though. They're too overly invested in just the draft. We need somebody there to basically the Will McClay, a version of Will McClay for trades and for free agency is what we need. Because Will McClay is awesome for drafting and scouting out of college. We need somebody with his mind, except that mind that works in free agency and that works in NFL trades. If you get that, Cowboys going to go to a Super Bowl. I'm telling you, just on talent alone. But right next to it, they're only using 50% pretty much of the means of talent acquisition. Makes no sense. So there you go. I love my man Patrick bringing it up. That was a nice little nugget there. Okay, we come back. We got more NFL legal tampering period news. We'll go over all of the signings that have take that back. All of the agreements that have been discussed and reported, because nothing can be signed or finalized until the beginning of the new league year, which happens on Wednesday. So we'll talk about all the reports of what's happening during the legal tampering period for the NFL. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie on 104.9 The Horn. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Spec Sex Line's wide open, 512-337-3776. I love this texter. They are annoyed, and I understand, understandably so. They're annoyed at the NFL's term legal tampering. Say, is it really called legal tampering? They need a dictionary if so. Then the texter also sent in the definition. Tamper, to touch or make changes to something that you should not, usually without enough knowledge of how it works or when you are trying to damage it. Yes. The NFL making a legal tampering period, which, by the way, they did like a few years ago. So this is a relatively new phenomenon for the NFL, their legal tampering period right before free agency. And I don't know this for a fact. This is just my theory as to why the NFL decided to come up with legal tampering. I believe tampering in all sports now at every level potentially, especially at the college level now with the transfer portal, is basically the most violated, most broken rule or most broken, I don't know, whatever, code, that bylaw that in a league may have. Like it's basically what speeding is. All of you out there listening right now, whether y'all want to admit it or not, y'all have been speeding today. Y'all have broken the law. You've gone 5, 10, 15 miles over the speed limit. You ain't got to admit it, but we all know you've done it. Everybody listening to this show has broken that law. It is the most broken law on the books. No law is more violated than speeding because we all do it. All right? Everybody speeds. Everybody has sped on a freeway, on the road somewhere. Please just be safe, all right, when you're doing it. But my point is, everybody does it. And to the point now where, hell, there's even like an unwritten agreement, a gentleman's agreement between us and the policemen now, right? And the police, men or women, that, hey, as long as you don't go 5 miles over the speed limit, you're okay. Just speed, but only keep within 5 miles over. You should be okay. You shouldn't get pulled over. I don't even know if that's real. This like we just had this belief, this like folklore legend that we can speed 5 miles over the speed limit and no cop will pull us over. I'm sure a cop will text in and say, that's not true. Or that is true, right? We will not pull you over if you're only 5 miles over the speed limit. My point is that tampering don't work that way, all right? Tampering, whether you're talking about trying to get guys or gals in the transfer portal in college sports, whether you're talking about the NBA players who will vacation together and then decide, hey, we should play together. All right, let's make that happen. Hey, have your agent call my agent. All right, cool, let's make it happen. Whether you're talking about that or whether you're talking about in the NFL where Sean McVay goes to Mexico and, I ran into Matt Stafford in Mexico. Oh, this is crazy. You should enjoy some margaritas and talk about how we should team up together. Whatever. You can't prove tampering. It's really tough to prove. And the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball probably too, they really don't have any motivation to try to prove tampering. The Dolphins got caught tampering because they're stupid. Every other league, everybody else, everywhere is tampering. The coaches here on the 40 acres, hate to say it, they're tampering. They are. This is the way it is. And they're all tampering. How do you think Texas got this great basketball team together with all these transfers? We waited till waited for the proper protocols and everything to play out before we contact. No, somebody's talking to somebody and it's 6 degrees of separation and this guy's uncle and the shady uncle and the high school basketball coach, they can reach out, but I can't because technically that's not tampering. It's happening everywhere. Everywhere. In every sport. So the NFL decided, you know what? Everybody's doing it. Why the hell are we trying to act like it's not happening? You know what we should do? We should make it a thing. We should make headlines. We should steal headlines from March Madness. How do we do that? Call it legal tampering. What does it mean? Who cares? Gets the people going. Who knows what it means? Nobody knows what it means. But it gets the people going. That's all they care. That's all they care about. They have not explained what legal tampering means. They don't care what it means. It's like icy hot. It's the same category with stuff like that. Bittersweet, awfully good, deafening silence, love, hate, icy hot, idiot savant, living dead, sound of silence, true fiction, whatever. It's oxymoronic, doesn't make a lot of sense. But when you start thinking about what the NFL is trying to accomplish, which is to get headlines, makes perfect sense. They want the reports out there, but nothing can be done officially until March 15th. Then why have this period? Because the NFL they want the headlines. They want the people talking about the NFL and talking about Aaron Rodgers and where he may go and talking about as the quarterback carousel turns. So they're smart enough to know headlines is what matters. That's why there's a legal tampering period. Every other league is tampering. They just don't throw it in your face that they actually are going to decriminalize it. That's the NFL's decriminalized tampering. That's all they've done. There you go. Real quick, we didn't get into this, but we talked about it last week that it was an inevitability that Chris Beard is going to be the new basketball coach for Ole Miss.
Yep.
So thank you, Tex, for
glad he landed on his feet. I'm surprised it was this fast, but you know what? Good for him. Hope he does well.
He's a damn good coach.
I hope we beat him every single time we play him in the SEC.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because he's a damn good coach. I'm not surprised at all.
No,
You know how the SEC is. If you can coach ball, we'll look past your baggage and whatever you got going.
Chris Beard and Lane Kiffin are going to have some crazy YouTube videos, y'all.
The SEC is the SEC, and Texas will have to play them. And what I'll say is, like I said, once again, it gets me back to this basketball team. They really have experienced everything from everywhere all at once. Pun intended. But, I mean, think about it. Start the season, open up the brand new mood. You're a top 10 team. You got Coach Beard. You beat the Zags. Everything's all good. Then the situation happens with Chris Beard. And then he gets charged. And then you got an interim coach. But you galvanize. Don't let that deter you. You keep your eyes on the prize. Damn near had a chance to win the regular season Big 12. And, by the way, in the midst of all that, just so happens you're playing in the toughest basketball conference that we've seen in college basketball in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
That also happened, right? In the midst of all this scandal and the crisis. But you keep your eyes on the prize. You have a little bit of a lull, so you don't win the regular season Big 12. You finish number 2. Charges are dropped, by the way, from the coach who was fired, so the charges are dropped from him. That, by the way, is a little bit of an emotional roller coaster. You don't think so? It is. And then you end up having a lull. You fall to, you lose the chance to win the Big 12 regular season title, but you get back on your feet. This team ends up, pulling together, kind of an us against the world mentality. Obviously, they are galvanized and supporting their new coach, and they end up winning the Big 12 tournament. Rodney Terry wins Sporting News Coach of the Year. Now their ex-coach is already getting a new gig, and now they're embarking on going into the NCAA tournament. That's a lot for one season.
That is a heck of a lot.
That's a lot.
And if we're talking about tampering, let you know, those guys have been getting phone calls all season.
That is true.
Hey, you got another year of eligibility? Yeah. Hey, your coach is gone. Forget this team. Forget them. Go ahead and come over. You can come over and play for us. So that has been happening all season as well.
That's true. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's a lot.
Yeah.
This is a lot. It's a lot. And then we found out Coach Terry dedicated this season to his dad, who passed away last year, and he's keeping that obviously to himself, but he's going through a lot too, and I'm sure going through a lot with his friend Chris Beard also having to kind of resuscitate his career. It's just a lot for one season, and for that not to distract them or deter them from their goals. I think their goal was try to win the regular season and win the Big 12 tournament, but I just think it's a great story, and it ain't over, by the way.
No,
so
if we would have said at the beginning of the season you would have got second in the Big 12 regular season, you would have won the Big 12 championship and be a 2 seed in the tournament. I think everyone would have been like, well, that's going to be a really good season, and that's with nothing else included into it. So just straight off from the beginning, you would have said, man, that's a really, really good season. So to achieve probably ahead of where you thought you probably could have been, because you would have said this team's probably a 3 or a 4 seed going into the season, and maybe if we play really, really well, we can get up to a 2 or a 1. And honestly, they had a shot at a 1.
They had a shot at a 1.
And if a couple of other teams maybe in the tournament didn't play as well as they did in the tournament, Texas could have got a 1 seed.
Or if they won the Big 12 regular season and the tournament.
Oh, they won the Big 12 regular season tournament, didn't they?
Yeah. So which they had a chance to do.
Yeah.
They literally, 2 games they had, kind of off performances, and they cost them the regular season Big 12 title. But then they end up blowing out Kansas, and it's hard. I can't even say it because we're not used to saying Kansas getting blown out. But they did. They blew them out twice in 2 consecutive weeks to end the season. In the regular season and to end the postseason or the Big 12 tournament postseason. And to me, that is a bit of a statement as well, because we know, hey, man, just like Oklahoma runs this conference when it comes to football, Kansas runs this conference when it comes to basketball. Now they do, and they have always run this conference when it comes to basketball. But for Texas to have that type of statement win in the Big 12 tournament after already beating them by double digits, they didn't want to get embarrassed out there again. And by the way, it essentially was a road game for Texas. See a lot of it's like 80% Kansas fans in those stands.
You're in Kansas City.
Yeah, so I'm saying it was like a road game.
They don't have to travel really as much. Like they can. That's a drive.
I think they've done really well this year handling adversity, and that's what the tournament's all about. Adversity, that's something this team is comfortable dealing with. My man Chan says open tampering is deemed as networking in the corporate world. Yeah, that's a great point. That's exactly what it is. I love that, Chad. Great point there. I like that. All right, let's get to some NFL news notes and nuggets here. Let's talk about Jimmy G to the Raiders first, because this affects the Texans, and this is your team. All right, Patrick. And you, by the way, brought this up last week. And we were talking about the trade by the Carolina Panthers to move all the way up to get number 1. There was a rumor, or more report actually, in Houston, because Bobby Slowick brought it up too. During his introductory press conference for the Texans, they asked him, was Jimmy G a part of your quarterback plans or your future? He says, yes, we are considering Jimmy G, which means they were thinking about bringing in Jimmy G as a kind of a veteran presence with either, I don't know, maybe they bring in a young quarterback via the draft or maybe not. But that's not going to happen because Jimmy G looks like he is getting ready to sign with your Raiders.
Yes, he is going to the Raiders. For the Raiders, it's a 3-year deal, so it's not a long-term deal. It's pretty cheap as well, just over $20 million a year. Where in a world where Daniel Jones is getting close to $40 a year, that's a pretty good deal to get a starting quarterback at that, which is going to let the Raiders make some other moves. I think if you're the Raiders, you really, really need to draft a quarterback or sign another quarterback. Jimmy G has had issues staying on the field. Your O-line is not exactly.
Is Jarrett Stidham still not?
No, I believe Jarrett Stidham has already agreed to terms with the Broncos.
Oh wow, that's
so
fast.
I believe he is headed out already.
Okay.
So, but
man,
a lot of quarterbacks moving fast.
Quarterbacks are moving, yeah.
They realize it's like, hey man, we're valued right now, but we need to go get our money now instead of waiting, or else we could end up on the back of the line.
I wonder if Cooper Rush, because isn't he a free agent for the Cowboys? Cooper Rush?
I believe so.
Yes, I wonder if Cowboys will move fast on that. But you brought it up that Jimmy G might be the perfect landing spot for the Raiders, or it might be the perfect quarterback and might end up landing with the Raiders, I should say. That's exactly what's happening. So if you're the Texans and you were thinking about Jimmy G, which they obviously was, that's not going to be the case. We'll see if the Texans, because they brought in Case Keenum, you said, right?
Case Keenum is there,
So
which I think Case Keenum is a great signing for them to get a veteran in there to, assuming now you're going to have to go quarterback in the draft.
Even if you didn't get a quarterback in the first round and they went defense, you still need to draft a quarterback somewhere in the draft.
Yeah, and Case Keenum could be a great mentor for you and backup quarterback. So I like that signing a lot for the Texans, just as a smart to get a guy in there who's a good player. He's got ties because he originally started with the Texans. I like what they did. But, yeah, I think they were probably in the Jimmy G hunt, but it seems as if the Raiders, had the inside edge on that one from the beginning, where he knew he was going to be the starter. They may still take a guy, like if Will Levis falls to them, they may still take a guy like that. If Anthony Richardson does, they'll probably definitely take that. But if they can get one of those guys that's more of a project, then I think they could do that because it's only a 3-year deal for Jimmy G as well. So you could say, hey, this could be a 1 or 2 year deal behind us. I've heard some people saying that the Raiders should try and trade for Matt Corral as well. That's a guy that in Carolina, if they now have the number 1 pick and they are moving on in quarterback, that Matt Corral to recoup a draft pick that may be on the move somewhere. That's another guy you could possibly take a chance on if you don't get a quarterback in this draft.
No, that's a good point though about Matt Corral, because a lot of teams might have had him high on their board.
Yeah, and if you're not going to get one this year, you can say, all right, well, there's a guy that now he's basically missed a whole season due to injury, but we can get him for lower value because they just want to recoup a draft pick if he's never going to play for him.
Speaking of the quarterback carousel, as it continues, NFL media reports that Buccaneers are expected to target Baker Mayfield. Baker Moneymaker is going to be a top target for them. Remember, this is a perfect spot for Baker Mayfield. I mean, Kyle Trask would be the competition. Now, I'm not saying he's going to beat out Kyle Trask at all, but it's a possibility. Like, usually he'd come into a spot where, oh, no, you're obviously the backup. You're the number 2. You got no shot. Even if this guy plays badly, you still won't get in. He's a franchise quarterback. Kyle Trask ain't no franchise quarterback. Kyle Trask is a stopgap quarterback for now.
Yeah.
So it's a good spot for me. That ends up being the place.
You got Mike Evans and Godwin, and you got wide receivers there.
That's true.
So there is, and it's built for a quarterback. Like, that team is not a team that wasn't built for Tom Brady. So if you want to walk into a team that was built for somebody like that, now it's fallen apart a little bit. It's gotten a little bit older, but there's still a lot of pieces out there that would be a great – if you're Baker Mayfield, you probably couldn't hope for much better at this point in your career.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that's a perfect spot. If he ends up there, that's just a speculation right now, is that he may end up there. Earlier in the show, we did play some audio of the president and CEO of the Green Bay Packers, Mark Murphy, being asked at a local event there in Wisconsin about the future of Aaron Rodgers. And the truth is, I mean, he said basically they're working with Aaron Rodgers as much as they can to try to make the trade happen. He said, quote, I mean, if things don't work out the way we would want them, yeah. But he said he's obviously a great player, 4-time MVP, but I think it's trying to find what he wants and what we want, and hopefully we can find a win-win situation. He said, we gave them permission to talk to Aaron Rodgers, but I really can't get into the details. We're really hopeful that we can reach a resolution that works not only for Aaron, but for us. They sound like they're ready for this thing to happen.
It does. All right, now, if in your head, what is compensation like roughly looking like in this trade?
I know.
Is this a first rounder, 2 first rounders? What point? Because 2 first rounders is around what we're used to for a quarterback of this caliber.
Yeah, they're going to be looking at that Russell Wilson deal, unfortunately, and that they're going to be using. I mean, because if you think about it, that's one of the deals that would at least give you a template.
That's what I'm saying.
Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah.
But then he's an MVP. I think his salary, though, with $50 million or whatever, I think that may cause the team, the Jets that trade for him, maybe they say, hey, man, we got to offset this salary somehow. So you got to, give us a break on the draft capital, right? Because we're going to pay $50 million to the salary. Otherwise, we'd have, or would you like to pay some of this salary? Maybe they do it that way.
Yeah.
Like you pay 40% of the salary, and then we'll pay the other 60%, and that's how they do it. But I could see them using the Russell Wilson trade as just kind of a template because, I mean, like I said, that's the last Super Bowl winning franchise quarterback in that conversation that was traded. You could say Matt Stafford if you want to. I mean, but that's also, what was Matt Stafford traded for?
2 firsts?
2 firsts? That's
what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's going to be 2 firsts.
And Matt Stafford had a contract as well.
And he didn't and by the way, he was an MVP and he hadn't won a Super Bowl. So it's going to be 2 firsts.
That's what you figure. And that's what's crazy is you're saying 2 firsts, and I can't imagine Aaron Rodgers playing for the Jets in 3 seasons.
Yeah, but in every offseason, he'll play hard to get again. He's going to play hard to get again. Guaranteed. That's just the way it is with him every offseason. So, yeah, not really sure if, when this is going to happen. I think Trey Wingo said it's done.
Trey Wingo leaked it.
He says it's done. That was hours ago.
And every single other source has said that he jumped the gun and it is not a done deal.
That's not been confirmed.
So it was also hilarious because you could see all of the Jets players were starting to get excited about it.
Yeah.
All the guys were tweeting out positive things, and all the shows are going, guys, you might want to weigh back on that one because this is not like all the other sources are saying this is not confirmed at all.
I know, but Trey Wingo is pretty reliable.
I think he's on it.
He doesn't jump the gun very often.
I think he understood that it was happening and thought he would be the first one to get it out there, and then it would happen in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
And now it's been crickets for like 3-4 hours.
Hey, man, this may be the Tom Brady thing with Schefter, where Aaron Rodgers goes, Wingo, you tried to leak this? Cool.
Great point.
I'm going to make you wait.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're right about that. Okay, another story here, NFL-related story. I want to get into we won't talk a lot about this, but I did see that Bobby Belt, who does a great job with 105 through the Fan, he claims the Cowboys are really interested in Rojo. And remember we said the Cowboys should be thinking about drafting Roschon Johnson as one of the running backs. He said the guy they're interested in at Texas is Bijan's backup, Roschon Johnson. And Roschon Johnson is their prototype back, big, tough, physical runner, complete back. He came in at 6 foot, 220 pounds at the combine, averaged 5.5 yards per carry at Texas while splitting time with Bijan. That's a guy I think really like if you're looking for who the Cowboys could potentially take in the 3rd round as a value person to pair with Tony Pollard. Kendre Miller from TCU and Roschon Johnson from Texas are the 2 names to be aware of. He also says he said they probably wouldn't pass on Bijan Robinson, but nobody expects Bijan to be there for the Cowboys at 26.
Yeah, I mean, if he falls to 26, that's a need for you.
It's easy.
That's an easy decision there. But yeah, he would have to fall. I wonder how close he would have to get to 26 before they made a move.
Oh, try to go up if he's
like the CeeDee Lamb,
3 or 4 picks,
like CeeDee Lamb when they moved up a couple picks ago, because they know, hey, everybody knows if he falls to us, he's going. So if anybody else wants him, they're going to try to trade up right in front of us.
And the Buffalo Bills are right behind you.
Yes, so someone's going to try and jump us if we do.
Yeah.
So why don't we try and jump everybody and go get him? it's a possibility. They've done it in the past to try and get up and go up a few picks and get their guy. I wonder what spot that would be. I would guess it would be around 2021.
Yep, I was like, if he falls past 20, you got to start working.
Yeah,
if he
that would be
goes
my
past
guess.
20,
Is they
you
would
gotta
try
start
and
working.
move up a few spots and go get him there.
That's a good point. Yeah, if he falls that far, man, you got it. That's just too good a value to get the best running back in the draft when you actually need a running back. Okay, so real quick, this Lamar Jackson story, it's got a lot of layers. Jeremy Fowler's reporting that he doesn't expect Lamar Jackson to sign the non-exclusive franchise tag, and he also does not expect any team. He expects he doesn't expect any team to make an offer for Lamar Jackson. As my man Patrick mentioned, there's a lot to that logistically, a lot of things. So as with this current market, with the non-exclusive franchise tag now applied to Lamar Jackson, Jeremy Fowler saying there's no market for that. People were saying earlier there a market for Lamar Jackson. I agree. If he's an unrestricted free agent, there's a market. He's not that. All right. There will be baggage attached to him, not only the fully guaranteed deal, but also the draft capital that must be given up with this non-exclusive franchise tag. But also you have to negotiate with Lamar Jackson to that fully guaranteed deal, whatever it may be. He has not responded. We have not heard anything from Lamar Jackson personally. He's just been responding on social media. There was a tweet. Basically, he's been tweeting a lot. That's why he needs an agent. Because that's how he speaks to the world. Like, he can only get his message out there via social media. He had an agent. His agent be going on, he'd be talking to Stephen A. Smith. He'd be talking to all these people, and then his message would get out there. So it's not really getting out there. But there was a tweet that said that Lamar Jackson was one of only 5 quarterbacks with a 96-plus passer rating and 100-plus passing touchdowns in his first 61 starts. The other quarterbacks were Patrick Mahomes, Dan Marino, Aaron Rodgers, and Deshaun Watson. His response to the tweet was good company, huh? Yeah, he is in good company. I mean, he is, like I said, I can't believe that nobody's even going to make an offer for Lamar Jackson, because he probably wants the Deshaun Watson-like deal, the fully guaranteed deal. I don't think he's going to get it, and I think he's so upset with the Ravens for putting him in this predicament that I bet you probably could get him with another offer close to what he wants, just not a fully guaranteed deal, because he's not going to get that.
Yeah, and then the question goes into, would the Ravens match that?
Yes, they will.
And so if it's not fully guaranteed, the Ravens probably match it, which means you don't get your guy anyway, and I think they're in a bad position where if you're a team, I could get that you can say there's no market right now for anybody to sign him on the franchise tag. If you're not then trying to, on the back end, talk to him because you were allowed to in this period and say, hey, is there a way that we can make this a trade and we can get rid of all this red tape that's all around it, and we sign you and you sign the tag so you can be traded. You trade to us. We immediately sign you this new deal. We do all of this. That's the conversation I would be having with Lamar Jackson right now while I could be talking to him if I was interested in him. Go, look, I can't afford to tie up my franchise for 5 days to wait on this. I can't afford to do all this. Like, I have to know this deal. However, if we can go back and make all this work, I'm interested. And I think right now what you're seeing is because he's 26 years old and because they don't want to give the fully guaranteed, is they prefer he'd go back to the Ravens, sign the franchise tag, play one more season, and at 27 come out as an unrestricted free agent, and then the market would be insane for him.
I think you make a lot of great points, and you know what would help expedite those ideas? An agent.
I agree. I think we're all on that bandwagon, Ron.
You're right. You should be trying to work out a trade rather than trying to, obviously get a deal in with the circumstances applied by the non-exclusive franchise tag. Because you're right, a sign and trade seems like it'd be way better. He's like, just sign it, man, and we'll give you a deal. Even if it's not a fully guaranteed deal, can you give him more guaranteed money than Kyler Murray? You know what I mean? Like, I think Kyler Murray's got the second most guaranteed money.
But we can negotiate a deal
behind like Watson. Or
we
whatever.
can negotiate a deal in good faith, and which we do not feel the Ravens are doing.
They are not.
And we can negotiate a deal in good faith with you, and give you what you want. But we'll give up 2 firsts for you. But the whole thing is, we just can't have this 5-day period where the Ravens are screwing you around and screwing us around, and then they match us, and then our season's blown up. We just
because
can't have that.
The Ravens, no matter what, though, they're going to go back and forth with you on the matching unless you make an offer that is like right underneath a guaranteed offer. It's got to be, you know what I mean? Like it's got to be right below a guaranteed offer. And then the Ravens, I think, will go, all right, we're not doing that. We're not matching that. So that's why it's got to be. Otherwise, you're right. They're just going to match it.
But they're
and
also
play the
going to
game.
hold it for 5 days, no matter what.
Yes, that's true.
They're not gonna tell you if you do it Wednesday at noon. They're not gonna tell you at 12:05. Oh no, you can have them. They're gonna tell you, we'll get back to you in 5 days.
Man, and to think Lamar Jackson is threatening not playing at all, potentially, like just blowing the whole day. Everybody loses. Fans lose. Organization lose. He loses if he decides not to play.
That's what happens when you have negotiations and bad faith.
Yeah, to me, this is more on the Ravens. So the Ravens should have got this done earlier.
Yes.
You should have got this done right after he made his first playoff run.
And if you're a Ravens fan, maybe you can notice when they just also cut Calais Campbell today that there is not the loyalty of this franchise. Ed Reed had to they got rid of him at the end. And that is normal in NFL franchise. Like they're not unique in that. But let's not point them as the good guys because Lamar Jackson wants a fully guaranteed deal.
Agreed. Yeah. That's a great point too. The court of public opinion, they're definitely winning in the court of public opinion right now. All right, we come back. We'll throw in some more Texas basketball conversation. Texas basketball, big win over Kansas to solidify the Big 12 tournament championship for themselves and a 2 seed. We'll talk about their opponent Colgate a little bit and also get into some of the other sports headlines from around the sports world. All that and more right here on Ball Don't Lie 104.9 Horn. Hey, what's up, folks? Lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers here. Let me tell you about my favorite tequila. It's Hot Cat Tequila. The cat stands for cinnamon, agave, and tequila, and the recipe just as simple and just as delicious. Cinnamon, agave, nectar, and tequila. That's why it's so light. That's why it's so smooth. Hot Cat Tequila is a tequila lover's dream, and if you're not a fan of tequila, Hot Cat Tequila will make you a fan of tequila. Hot Cat Tequila will turn any event into a party, and every party feels like a celebration. So celebrate and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Once you try Hot Cat, you won't go back to that old cinnamon whiskey or that cheap tequila you were ordering rounds of when you were just trying to get the party started. Turn up your party with Hot Cat Tequila. It's the perfect way to pregame for all the big games, concerts, festivals, or a night on the town with family and friends. It's the perfect way to enjoy a night out on the town. Like I said, when you best enjoy it, cold, right? Serve it cold because it is perfect and it hits the spot. Trust me on that. So visit cattequila.com. That's cattequila.com to find a store near you that sells Hot Cat Tequila or to find a bar near you that serves Hot Cat Tequila. Toast and turn up with Hot Cat Tequila. Welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. It is a Smooth Soul Monday. My man Patrick playing jams intended to soothe the tortured soul of sports fans out there. But Longhorn basketball fans, nothing tortured about their souls. As a matter of fact, Longhorn basketball fans feeling jubilant, if you will. They are overly excited about this Texas basketball team beating Kansas in the Big 12 tournament and taking home their second Big 12 Conference Tournament Championship, I should say. And I saw this little stat out there. Christian Corona, I'll give him credit because it's a great stat. It's about how rare it is to see Texas, beat Kansas the way they did. So the teams who have beaten Kansas by 16-plus points twice in the same season in the last 100 years, Texas did this year. Oklahoma in 89-90 and Kansas State in 61-62. That's it. That's the end of your list.
It's good company.
They're 5-2. If you go look at Texas versus Kansas, they've had a lot of success versus Kansas in the last 3 years. They got 3 wins over Kansas by 16-plus points in the last 3 years, including the worst home loss in the Bill Self era. I mean, you don't really think about how important and really how monumental a win over Kansas like that could be until you kind of stack it up against some of the other disappointing all-time losses for Kansas. I mean, Texas has recently handed KU 2 of their worst losses, arguably they've had since they've been in the Big 12, only because of the timing of it, because they're the only third team since 2010 to beat Kansas basically by 20-plus points in March. That doesn't happen. And the first team since KU joined the Big 12 to defeat Kansas by 15-plus points in consecutive weeks. You just don't beat Kansas like that. You just don't do it. So confidence-wise, I mean, this has got to be the most confident Texas has felt all year long. They got to be feeling extremely confident about being able to beat one of the best teams in the country, which means you can play and beat any other team in the country.
And I mean, if you talk about playing TCU, who is a team that's gotten the better of you and a team that really was just a really bad matchup for Texas, and being able to win that game and play that game well, I think gives you even more confidence, because you can say TCU is a really good team, and they were, and we were able to handle them. And it wasn't a double-digit win, but it was still a win that you knew you had going down the stretch. So I think both of those wins give you a lot of faith going forward. It's going to be a lot of fun as we watch more film on Colgate. We'll get a better picture of how this matchup will line up for Texas and what they need to do later in the week. But you have to feel good if you're Texas right now. You have to feel good if you're a Texas fan.
In the Midwest region is where they are right now. I'm just talking about the seedings. It seems like it's favorable. You watch a lot more college basketball than I do, Patrick. But they do have to play A&M or Penn State in the second round. A lot of people are hoping, including the networks, that's A&M, who a lot of people believe were shafted a bit in the seeding. They probably should have been a higher seed. They're a 7 seed, Penn State a 10 seed. But even in that region, U of H is the top seed in that region. And U of H got a serious injury now, dealing with their Sasser injury.
They have an injury. They have a couple injuries, actually. And then they are also a team that we know they're very good. I don't want to cast illusions that they're not very good. Their biggest win was against Virginia, who we're much better than. Like, Texas is a better team than Virginia. Virginia is one of the better teams in a bad conference in the ACC this season. But they were getting beat by teams that didn't even make the tournament.
Yeah, the ACC was weird this year.
So the ACC is just on a down year right now.
This year, yeah.
But so you can say Houston just hasn't played that level of competition. Indiana is also a good team in that bracket, but Indiana has to beat Houston, or Houston has to beat Indiana before we would play them in the Elite Eight anyway. So I think it's a pretty good draw for Texas. The only thing that you look at and say, well, if you're playing the best 7 seed by a long margin in Texas A&M, that's somewhat unfortunate that you're playing a really hot Texas A&M team right there. But out of that, I'm not complaining about it. I think it looks as if that Houston would have been the 4th 1 seed and Texas would have been the first 2 seed.
I like
is what
that.
it looks like
Yeah.
if you look at the bracket. So I think they got somewhat favorable seeding in there.
Yeah, I feel like that too. Obviously, Longhorn fans a little cocky right now, and I get that, and I'm in that camp as well. Especially now looking at the surface kind of breakdown of Colgate. They are a really good three-point shooting team, 40.8% three-point percentage as a team. That's the best in the country, that field goal, three-point percentage. They also are number 2 in field goal percentage, and I think they're number 1 in effective field goal percentage too. So they knock down shots, but in terms of talent level that they've had to play, I think they've played 2 Power 5 opponents. They played Syracuse and they played Auburn, I believe it was. Those are the 2 Power 5 opponents they played. So they haven't had a real daunting schedule, but they have taken care of business. And I will say they're 20-1 in their last 21 games.
Yeah, I
Lost
mean,
like 1 game in their last 20 games.
yeah, they win the
21
Patriot
games.
League. Not a huge, not a powerhouse league, but I'll have to watch more game film before I know kind of what matchup problems they're going to be. I don't think they have a dominating big, which is something you always worry about. And then the question is going to be, can they shoot lights out enough? But I don't think they shoot enough threes to make that the major threat.
No, they don't. They only make like 9. They're so good at it. They only make like a little less than 9 per game.
Yeah, so we'll just I'll have to look more into that. And in this kind of matchup, it comes down to Texas being focused, Texas being ready. Brock Cunningham had a good message after the game where he's like, we celebrate, but he's like, I won the Big 12 championship a few years ago, and we lost that first game.
Oh,
So he goes like, I
remind
know.
me.
But Brock Cunningham being on the team's like, I know this. I'm gonna enjoy this while I do. But man, believe me, I ain't having that. I'm not doing it twice.
What was that? Was it SFA? What was that?
No, that was Abilene Christian, right?
Abilene Christian's what it was. Oh, I knew it was like some purple school.
Yeah,
Wasn't it purple or the colors?
I
or
think
something?
so.
Oh, that hurt. That one did hurt.
Yeah.
That one was, especially after winning the Big 12 tournament title, that one hurt. That
Yeah.
did. That was very disappointing. And I believe one of the issues was they had basically they killed Texas on the boards.
Yeah, which is still a Texas problem.
issue. Yeah.
So, but yeah, you're gonna have to go in there and I'll look more this week. I saw there was some games I could watch, so I'll watch some more Colgate through this week and let you guys know what more I see of where the problems could lie. But again, you're the better team, you're the more talented team, you're the more athletic team. You need to go out and just win this game, and no slow start, no play like you did in the tournament.
Yep.
You can do that. If you play like you did in the Big 12 tournament, then you should be fine. You can move ahead, and then I'll watch A&M and Penn State and see who we're going to be playing next.
They got 1 Power 5 win. That's versus Syracuse, and they are 4-7 versus the top 3 quad teams. 21-1 versus quad 4 teams, and they are 20-1 in their last 21 games. And that one loss was by 1 point, I believe. So, all right, we'll talk some more about Colgate as we get to know Colgate. We come back, we'll wrap it up, put it in the oven, let you know what's on tap right here on Ball Don't Lie, 104.9 The Horn. All right, welcome back to Ball Don't Lie right here on 104.9 The Horn. Getting ready to wrap it up and put it in the oven. Before we do, we'll let you know what's on tap. If you missed any part of any of the shows, please go to hornfm.com, and you can catch up with them on the podcast page. What you got going on today, Patrick?
Soccer Matters at 7 and then Instant Serious at 8.
That's right. Oh, man, that's going to be great.
Hey, maybe Aaron Rodgers will get a trade before then. Who knows?
Hey, man, you might have some breaking news, man. A legal tampering period is wild in the NFL. Tonight, I'm going to go home. I'm going to try to go watch the rest of the Oscar-nominated films. I need to see The Whale, and I need to finish watching Banshees of Inisherin. So I will try to do that, give y'all some more blockbuster reviews tomorrow. I want to thank my man Patrick for doing a great job. Thank all you guys out there for listening and your participation. Remember, the revolution will not be televised. We'll talk about it right here on Ball Don't Lie. We love you guys. We mean that. Take care of yourselves, but please take care of each other. Peace.